Hello everyone. Welcome. We're doing something a little bit different this week. Not only are we live streaming to YouTube, but we're also streaming to Facebook. I've never done it before. I don't think I've ever gone live on Facebook. So this is new. We've got a very special guest today. So we're going to be talking to Craig from Washi's Exterior Cleaning. So that'll be fun. He's just had some new bits fitted to his van, and he's been doing some quite impressive jobs over the last couple of weeks, so that'll be cool. He'll be on in a bit, hopefully. And we'll probably just do like a little, maybe a Q&A. Do some polls to see how busy people are, see what people want to chat about, see if I can answer any questions, see if anyone needs any help with anything. Is the chat working? Let's have a look. We've got the YouTube chat. We've got the Facebook chat. Evening, Chris. Welcome, mate. How you doing? Let me just see. Oh, here we go. Hunts. Hey, welcome, mate. Tracy, welcome. Jed, would love to hear about how Washi's going to be advertising and what works best. Yeah, Washi seems to be the guy to talk about like Facebook ads and Google ads and optimizing your. Well, he's the only one I know that's spending like chunky bits of money on ads, so that'll be cool. It seemed as though YouTube chat was taking a while to start coming through then, but Jed, welcome. Tracy, welcome. Hunts. Andy, what is the best setup to clean gutters, soffits and fascias? Are you asking me, or is that a question for Craig when he comes in? Because in my opinion, we've just been using our resin tank, water-fed pole, pure water or deionized water anyway. Is it deionized? DI? Is it deionization? Have I got that right? We've been starting with the pure water to see what sort of results we get, and then we've been, if there is any staining, then we've been going in with either some Synergy or TFR. But you'll be surprised how just water, how well that works. Tintin's welcome. How you doing, mate? I've noticed you've been busy in the Discord recently. Shane, all right, buddy. Steve. Oh, we've got a new notification banner there. Look, that's pretty sweet, isn't it? Where did that come from? I'll stick that up there. That's pretty cool. Oh, we don't. I mean, to be fair, I've done a couple of quotes recently for gutters, fascias, soffits. It seems to be the season now. I mean, now all the leaves are dropping. It's a nice little upsell if you enjoy that sort of work, because a lot of people, including myself, don't particularly enjoy that kind of work. It's very strenuous. It's like, it's quite hard work for such a small ticket service, particularly if you've got like a lot of white work on the property. But you'll generally find that if someone's interested in having their gutters cleared, which they probably would be this time, around about this time of year, because all the leaves have started to fall, you might find that a nice little upsell service, if they haven't had it done for a while, is to just mention, you know, your fascias and soffits or the outside of the gutters are looking a little bit green. Did you want me to price those up for you as well? I can break it down separately so that you know, you can pick and choose which services you want. And then at that point, if you're a window cleaner, which I'm not, but if you do enjoy cleaning windows, then you can say, have you ever had your windows cleaned? And then you could also upsell that sort of one-off frames, sills, glass. Even if you don't intend to come back and do a regular maintenance, you know, you could probably upsell another 40 or 50 quid to do the frames and the sills. How much are people charging? Is it normally around about twice I think someone told me it was like 3 times the cost of the like a maintenance clean, the one off the first clean. Obviously it's more expensive. Someone said there's like a thing that they stick to. It's like 3 times the cost or something. I can't remember. Williams, welcome. Gleamguard. What pumps are people using for pure water? That's a question for someone else, because I've only got my little gardener backpack at the minute. It's not even the gardener backpack. I've got the one from CleanLink now. By the way, discount codes on my link tree here. So you see that little link tree link down the bottom. So if you type that in, that's all the latest discount codes. And speaking of CleanLink, we've got a 5% off CleanLink discount code. And what was that? I heard a noise. What was that? We've got a 5% off CleanLink discount code, which also includes free shipping as well. But I've got their backpack, which I think is a decent price. I've put the Kleber fitting on the end of mine, and also I've just bought some new resin for my resin tank, because I thought it was the resin that was the issue. I think I've got this one. I thought it was the resin that was causing my spotty water, but I don't think it is, because we used it again the other day and it was perfect. So I think it was just the area, to be honest. Simon, welcome. How you doing, mate? Is this coming through okay on Facebook? If anyone's watching on Facebook, I've never done this before, so we're streaming on YouTube and Facebook. So if I can get some feedback on like the audio, the visuals and stuff, is everything working as you'd expect? Synergy all the way. Are you soaping up the faces and soffits with a bit of synergy? It's very foamy. It's very nice. Have you seen my new page yet for the quoting gutters, soffits and faces online? No. Have you got Ace of Sprays? Is it on your website? What's that noise? What was the noise then? Did anyone else hear that, or was it just me? It seems to be when I go onto a new website. Gutter cleaning. The link for live estimates. I'm guessing this is it. Oh, what's this? Gutter clear. Oh, 2-story. 4-bed. Oh, look at that. That's a nice idea. And so if they like their price, they just send you the inquiry. I like that. That's pretty neat. Quite intuitive. Good job. Are you always priced to clean them as well? That's a good practice, I suppose. Even if they don't ask, just say, I've also priced up the faces and soffits just in case you wanted those cleaning as well. What are we calling the bits on the side? Is it barge boards or like gable ends? You know, when you've got like a straight front and back, but then you've got the peaks on the side. Do you know what I mean? Are you including that in your regular fascia and soffit price, or are you... Because they're generally higher up. They're generally quite difficult to access, depending on, you know, how much space there is down the side of the house and bushes and stuff. Like, is that included in your fascia and soffit price, or is that extra? I try and mention it to every gutter person, generally double the charge, maybe a bit more. Just bought a new CleanLink pole, nice. External Solutions Norfolk, welcome. How you doing, mate? Shay, you're right, mate. We've got to get you on soon, Shay. I swear, I've been... I don't know if I've reached out to you, or I've just been thinking about reaching out to you. But I feel like we should make it happen. I think you'd be a great guest. Oh, thanks, Tintin. Stephen, welcome. Good evening. Just watched your new video using the roof cleaner. Very good to watch. I can see why you get a lot of work. Well done, Steve from Milton Keynes. Thanks, Steve. Steve's talking about my latest video that I just uploaded this evening, where we try out a new Turbo Devil that I got from PWS when we did Sausage Fest last week or the week before. And I'm not going to speak too soon, but it could potentially be an absolute game. I can't say it. It could save me some time. That's all I'll say. We're on the Red Bull tonight. We're on the Red Bull Peach, 0 sugar, white peach. Cheap eBay backpack, 55 quid. Nice. 20 to 1 on the Synergy. I don't think I've ever used Synergy that week. Generally, it's like 10 to 1 or 1 to 10 or lower, but we only really use it on like oil stains and stuff. But do you find that it works well at 20 to 1? Coming through fine, looks good. Nice. I've got you on both screens. Oh, that's dedication, Tintin. Thank you so much. Dan Jones, welcome. It's a little delayed compared to YouTube, but all good, no worries. I can deal with that, that's fine. I use Synergy when they're bad, but don't need a lot of time, plus it dries. Yeah, Synergy, if you're doing it on a hot day, and the Synergy dries, especially on the glass, on the windows, because inevitably you're going to splash it on the windows. Generally, I've found you can't get it off with water. You've got to what is that? You've got to reapply it. You've got to reapply Synergy. Scrub it again and then rinse it off before it gets a chance to dry, which is a bit of a pain. But I suppose if you're doing it on like an overcast day and temperatures aren't too high. Apex, thank you. Barge boards, I call them. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, barge boards. Simon says, my wheelie bin buffer tank is just not working right. The tap runs fine, but the water pressure to the pressure washer through the hose is low. The machine lamps won't fire, so I have to use a main tap. Interesting, Simon. I'd be interested if you could send me a photo through, and I'll see if I can diagnose it through a photo. One thing a lot of people do have trouble with is if there's any sort of air leak going from your buffer tank to your pressure washer, if there's any tiniest drip of water that's letting air in and it's letting water out, and if you've got any air in that system whatsoever, it's going to struggle to suck the water through the hose. The other thing that people do, so if you've got a drip from the bottom of your buffer tank or from the bottom of your hose or whatever, the other thing is that hose needs to be nice and thick, generally like a clear 3/4 inch wire reinforced hose, so that it can't squish under vacuum. And you don't want it more than around about 1.5 meters long. Any longer than that and it's going to struggle to suck the water through. Another thing that I like to do, and it's a reason why I don't like putting the hose over the top of the buffer tank for it to draw water through the hose from the top, is because the water has got to make that journey over the top of the buffer tank and purge all that air out of the hose before it can get into your machine. And again, you're making it hard for the machine there. So what I tend to do is I'm running mine from the bottom of the buffer tank, so I've got all that weight of the water sort of pushing against it, so that's helping. And also I purge all the air out of that hose before I plug it into the machine. So as long as the end of that hose is below the water line, the water will start coming out of the hose, and then you just put your thumb over the top, so you've got a hose full of water, and then you plug it into your machine. So hopefully you've not really got any air in that hose, and that might help. So you can do a couple of things there. I don't know how much you've done so far to try and remedy it, but that could help. Also, you can try elevating the buffer tank if possible. So ideally you want the water line in your buffer tank to be higher than the inlet on your pump. Ideally, I know it's not easy sometimes, and to be fair, with Jakey's setup, we've got the machine in the van, and then the buffer tank down on the ground. But because I do that purging thing, it doesn't seem to have an issue. Gable ends, barge boards, apex. Yep, yeah, similar sort of wording to me, I suppose. Apex can take 10 minutes max each side. I'll include it in the price, but mention it's included, etc. ESN exterior cleaning. We're both named Jake. There you go. Thanks for joining, mate. Touch 46. I've just bought my first setup yesterday. Was going door to door. Was going to door knock to start. Any tips? Yeah, I suppose. Not that I've got that much experience door knocking, to be honest. I don't really like doing it, but I think just don't be too pushy. I think knock the door, take a couple of steps back so you're not sort of too intimidating. And when people say no, generally I'd say, I mean, I'm not one of those. My camera just went off. I'm not one of those salespeople that are like super pushy. But I find when someone comes to my door, when I say I'm not interested, I'm not going to change my mind. So don't stand there for an extra 10 minutes trying to convince me, because you're just going to wind me up. Other than that, just be friendly, and if they're not interested, just say, maybe, can I just give you a leaflet anyway, just in case you think of anything after I leave, and at least you've got my number then. Just friendliness, I suppose. Does anyone know what that noise is? Chat box notifications. It's probably that. I've just turned it off. Darren, welcome. I've been asked to clean about 15 windows on my mate's house with a conservatory clean and gutter clean, but I don't do windows either. What's best to use without resin or just traditional? To be honest, I think traditional is a little bit of a skill that, by the way, for anyone that's new to the chat, I try and read every single message. So if you've typed something and I've not quite got to it, it's because I'm still up here and I'm going through every single message. So sometimes I get a little bit behind. And now that we've got 2 chats on the go, we've got YouTube and we've got Facebook, I might be even slower. Who knows? I think if you're going to write a message, the least I can do is read it. You know what I mean? I would say get yourself a little resin tank. 100 odd quid, 150 quid. It'll come in useful. You're going to use it again. They last ages. The resin lasts ages. And I think traditional, learning traditional for one job is potentially a little bit of a waste of your time, and you're still going to have to buy equipment to get it done properly, and you're going to have to do it all from a ladder, and I don't know. I'm not a fan of that, to be honest. I think if you've already got a water-fed pole and you're cleaning a conservatory and you plan on doing a few more, because it's a good earner, to be fair. Low ticket service, but there's never a shortage of work. I think just get a little resin tank. I wonder if CleanLink have got theirs back in yet. Resin. DI vessel. They had some, but I don't know if they're back in stock yet. Oh, they seem to be. They seem to be back in stock. Oh, vessel with fittings. There you go. 11 litre, plenty. 54 quid. What an absolute bargain. And then you just grab yourself some resin. That will last you ages. I think I only got 10 litres of resin with mine. Yeah, that's what I'd do personally, mate. Industry modifier. Thanks, Matt. Just got myself the new Fusion 10 pole. I think I saw something on your Facebook. Cedars. Welcome, by the way. Hunts, when is your new Rutland toy arriving? Ben messaged me about it today. I think I'm going to have it by the 1st or the 3rd of November. And I'll be filming a video for it. Daz, welcome. I don't think you've missed anything. Has anyone seen the Rutlands? They did a little teaser video, but it was a shame because it's on slabs, which isn't really what we want to see, is it? We want to see it on block paving.
Let's get down.
No, don't play music, please. It looks like a chunky monkey, didn't it? It didn't half look like a whopper. This is obviously just like a little teaser video. I wish we'd have seen it on a bit of block paving, that's all, but very excited to get my hands on it. Apparently there's an orange one on its way to me, which is very exciting. Very exciting indeed. You could also do that, as Steve says, you could buy some pure water from a filling station. You could fill like an empty barrel if you've got some hypo barrels or something, wash them out, fill them with pure water. If it's only a little job. The issue I've got with that is if you run out, you're stuffed. You know what I mean? Barclay, I haven't managed to catch a live in a while. I think your message cut off there, Barclay, but it's nice to see you in the chat again. Thanks for joining. Dual stream posh, I know, look at me. I'm paying £27 a month to be able to do this. I don't use an account. A lot of the time Paint Machine doesn't work. I think CleanLink have just... Sorry, I feel like I'm fanboying for CleanLink at the moment. But they just put a cool post out on their Facebook with their new they've got a new pure water filling station right outside their place, and it's pretty sick. You scan you set up like a direct debit or whatever, you scan your thing on your phone, and it just charges you automatically once you've finished filling up, and it sends you like a receipt to your email and stuff. I think that's pretty cool. It'd be cool to have like if more people could do this. I'd like to do this. Like if I get a unit or something and just have it all set up so I can just help some local guys out with their pure water, that'd be pretty sick. Maybe. Talking about spots on car giveaway windows. I believe using a fan jet causes more issues. The fan will spray the brush itself, causing spotting. I had this issue, changed to a pencil jet. Really? That's interesting. That is interesting. I noticed a lot of window cleaners use pencil jets, but I just thought, like, when I first cleaned windows, I thought, oh, these fan jets are perfect. It's like a perfect spread. It's exactly what you want when you're rinsing down. But I do notice small window cleaners are using pencil jets, and there's got to be a reason for it. You know what I mean? Must be because they work. Hope business is good. Barclay, business is very good, thanks, mate. Lots of stuff going on at the minute. We're about to start one of the biggest jobs of the year on Wednesday. Rich has just bought a new van, I think, which is pretty exciting for him. So that's what he's been doing today. And yeah, I've got some cool plans for the next couple of months, and I think people are gonna enjoy it. There is a little leak on the tap. That must be it. Cheers, buddy. I'll try that. Simon, that could be an easy fix, mate. If that's what it is, that could be it. I door knocked 10 doors today, secured 4 render cleans. Know your pitch. Don't hesitate and try to show them an example. There you go. Cedars, that's 10 doors. You've knocked 10 doors and secured 4 render cleans. That ratio is insane. That doesn't happen generally. Door knocking is a little bit of it's one of them. It's you got to get around a bunch of properties before you start seeing results, I think, quite often. But that's brilliant, that is. Touch 46, welcome. Hish, welcome. Gleamguard. I use neighbourhood cards. Once I've done a drive, I post cards through 5 doors to the left and 5 doors to the right, and then 10 in front of the house I worked on. That's a good idea. You might also want to consider doing this midway through the job. Like if at any point you have to stop to turn your machine off for your tank to fill up with water, or to clean up some muck or whatever it might be, posting those cards halfway through the job while you're still on site making noise and sort of while you're still present, it might give the neighbours the opportunity to walk out and you could do a few quotes in person while you're there, rather than posting them, shooting off, and then having a phone call for you to come back and you know. I've got a little sticker on my van that says ask for a leaflet or something, because I know sometimes it can be intimidating when you see like tradespeople outside working and you're not sure whether you should ask or not, if you're not sure whether they're sort of interested in doing more work. And like for like a little old lady or something, it might be difficult to approach a couple of blokes that are working on a driveway or something. It might not be very easy for someone to do, whereas I thought if I put that on the side of my van, you know, please feel free to ask for a leaflet, it might prompt people. Maybe. Also, any hypo tips? I'm finding it's hard to get results with it. Am I making it too weak? It's not coming out very foamy. How are you applying the hypo? Generally, on most surfaces that hypo is safe on, generally I'm starting at around 1 to 5. So 1 part hypo, 5 parts water. Surfactant is already pre-mixed in the hypo barrel when it's neat. So I've already got surfactant mixed in there when I'm diluting it. One thing I will say is I've noticed when I'm applying the hypo with like a little pump sprayer or something, I found that it's easy to go on too light, and when you're putting it on a little bit too misty, you're not getting as much on the surface as you might think. And so I found either getting a little bit closer with it, or you could use a watering can, or you can use a bucket with like a soft-headed brush. If you've got a soft-headed brush, it helps the hypo foam up, whereas if you've got a stiff brush, it doesn't foam up as easy. But you should always be agitating it about 5 or 10 minutes in, just to keep it active on the surface. If you've got no surfactant in it, it's not going to foam up, and it's not going to stay where you want it. It's going to evaporate quicker. It's going to fall down into the joints. You want to keep it as active as possible on the surface when you apply it. So a couple of things to think about there. I'm going to buy a couple of A-frame boards. Wish I had one for this job. You'll see when Craig comes. Oh, okay. Anyone else had a bad day as me on Saturday? Blew a head gasket on the pressure washer halfway through. Then my pump on my backpack dying halfway through cleaning windows, soffits and fascias. Same job. Sounds like a nightmare. I have had a couple of those jobs. Not such massive breakdowns, but I've had like when multiple things go wrong at the same property, and it's like, oh my god, this job is cursed. My Spinner Clean flat surface cleaner has finally bust after 5 years. Anyone tried one of the Vivor eBay ones? Just bought one to get through the winter. To be honest, I think I've got one. When I first bought my flat surface cleaner from Equip to Clean, I think it's just one of those Vivor ones. I don't know how you even say that, but I got the 18-inch and it looks identical. I think it's just rebranded. I think it's one of them. This one looks slightly different to the one I bought, and the one I bought, it was advertised with like 3 wheels, but it arrived with 4, and it was also advertised with a twin bar, so 2 jets, but it arrived with a triple bar, which is 3 jets, which is no good really. I didn't want 3 jets, I wanted 2. And so now I'm spreading the pressure and the flow across 3 jets when, it's got less cleaning power. If I was to spread it across 2, if I was to use the same flat surface cleaner and spread it across 2, it would clean much more efficiently. So I'm a little bit disappointed with that. I'd like to get that swapped over at some point, because it's a good surface cleaner. I really actually do like it. One of the few pieces of equipment I bought from this website that I actually like. And it's lasted ages. It's got a little grease nipple on top, so although I can't see it in that picture. Keep it greased up and it'll serve you well. Spray a bit of WD-40 in the wheels every now and again in the casters. That doesn't seem to have that little grease nipple that my other one's got, so maybe they've changed the bearing housing as well. I don't know. But I'm happy with mine. Photos can show examples to client to show your past work. Oh, when you're door knocking, Husky, you could take a little book round with you, yeah, and just show them before and afters in, you know, nice big print, so you're not just doing it on your phone, for example, or you could do it on a tablet maybe. Good idea. John Paul. Oh, you can post links on Facebook. So normally when we're doing this in the YouTube live stream, people aren't allowed to post links. It's 160 quid on eBay. That same, I mean, very, very similar looking piece of equipment there. Similar looking bearing housing, similar looking trigger. So we're going from 160 quid to 400 quid, depending on where you buy it from. I'm sure there's a bit of, I'm sure you must have to pay delivery on that as well, surely. Free delivery within 2 or 3 days. You can't argue with that, can you? You can't argue with that. You were using a hard brush to apply. Yeah, and also when you dip, say for example you're dipping a stiff brush into a bucket, none of that product's going to cling onto the stiff brush. It's just going to fall straight through the bristles. Where if it's a soft, like almost flocked brush, it's gonna stay in the brush, and then you can put it on the surface and spread it around. The other thing I've found is if you're using like a little mini brush to agitate your hypo, like a little mini broom to agitate it, make sure it's a soft broom, but also try and avoid any like metal fixtures and fittings on the broom, any metal screws and stuff. Try and get like a plastic one, because it's going to last so much longer, because obviously hypo's corrosive, and so it'll just eat away at the bottom of your broom. If you've got like a metal broom handle on it or something, it will just eat away and it will rust and it'll be horrible after a couple of weeks. Jay, welcome mate. How you doing? There you go. Steve says the same. Soft brush because you don't want to flick fences or anything that will mark. Don't buy an expensive brush that'll only last a few jobs. I've just got one too, Jake. 2 jets and it's night and day. Okay. Oh, you've just gone 2 jets and it's night and day. Nice. Good to know. Had mine nearly 3 years from equip to clean. Been used to death. Never been greased. Still fine. Really? That's a good... that is a good endorsement. Niho, welcome. Got a 20% off voucher on that as well. Jeez. 133 quid. There you go. I think I've caught up with the chat. What are the odds of that? Is Craig around? Shall I pull up Discord? I don't know if he's here. Is he around? Says he's playing RuneScape. I use a car wash brush. That's a good idea. One of those thick, flocked, chunky brushes. Good idea. Arden Jet Wash Services, welcome. How you doing? Has anyone got any questions about anything before we jump into chatting with Craig? Does anyone need any sort of help with quotes or chemicals or equipment? Anything that I can try my best? I wouldn't class myself as an absolute expert on all this stuff, but we tend to do some quite deep dives on equipment and chemicals and application and roof cleaning and stuff. So I'm quite well, even though I've only got about 5 years experience myself, I'm quite well versed in all the research. So just messaged him to kick him up the ass. I think he's selling his buffer tank to someone he met at Sausage Fest. So I don't want to get in the way of that. Get your money, brother. Get that cheddar. I think Craig sent me an old picture of his first setup. It looks like he might have had one of those Wilkes machines. It's so cool to see where people have been and to look at where they are now. It's very cool. Oh, Craig's ready. Here we go. Mazam Ali, welcome. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. You need help with quotes? You just wrote the words quotes. Maybe if anyone's got any questions for me or for Craig, feel free to pop them in the chat and we will do our best to help. Right, he says he's ready. Oh, Craig, you're not going to be able to see my webcam, I'm afraid, mate. Sorry. Craig, I think I'm calling you. He's ready. I'm in the USA and I've been enjoying seeing how you clean over there. I really like how you do the water-fed pole. How come you don't do more soft washing of the siding?
Make sure I can actually hear you.
Hi Craig, how you doing? How come you don't do more soft washing? I think we've got a bit of a thing when it comes to launching hypo up into the sky over here. We've got to be a little bit more careful. You're right, Craig. Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Your microphone on Discord's not working. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Mine? Ah, is it because I've got to press the button?
Potentially. I can hear you now.
Sweet. Hang on, let me just change something. Is that any better?
Yeah.
Lovely. Welcome to the stream, Craig.
Hiya, mate. It's been a while, eh?
I know. When did we last do this? It was like... It can't have been a year ago now.
No, it might have been about a year ago, actually.
Really? Can you see the chat?
Someone will probably be able to check. I've got my phone up. Actually, if I just load YouTube up on
because now
laptop.
we've got a new problem today. I'm streaming on both YouTube and Facebook, and so I can see both chats, but you can probably only see the one, can't you?
What I'll do is I'll load up YouTube on my laptop and let me load up Facebook on my phone, and then I should be able to read both.
That's a good idea.
1 second.
Quotes. If you have any standard set price for each side of a gutter, how much do you add on roughly for gutter, porch, and conservatory gutter, etc.? Conservatories, like an average size conservatories, to clear the gutters out, I'm generally just adding about 20 quid. Porches and things, they're only little, and they don't take long at all. So generally, £5 just to spend an extra 5 or 6 minutes clearing out the porch. How about you, Craig? When you're clearing gutters, have you got a set price for your gutters?
I pretty much wing it. I'm quite cheap compared to most people. My minimum charge is between 70 and 75. And then I charge roughly around 25 a side. So if it's like a front and back, it'll be 70. If it's 3 sides, it'll be between 70 and 80, depending on access. I don't really like to go over the £100 mark in regards to gutters. Do
you think that scares a lot of people off?
Yeah, I just think it's a low-ticket item. And yes, I do make a lot of money during gutter season, but I don't really do gutters to make money, if that makes sense. I do it to get my foot in the door for the driveway, the patio, upselling FSGs, conservatories, roof cleans. It's just...
That's interesting. Yeah. So it's more of a tool to build a relationship with the customer than it is to generate work, than it is to get paid.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, yeah, you do make good money in it, but I'm not going to be one of them people that goes around us in any gutter for 20 quid or anything like that. Obviously, I still need to be paid reasonable for my time that's there, but it's just getting your foot in the door on the street as well. Like, you do one gutter at £70 and who knows what work you're going to get. I've just seen your van across the road. We quote me from a driveway, or I've seen you do roofs. Can you you wouldn't have got that if you didn't do the gutter kind of thing. So
Yeah. You've got your van all sign written up as well, haven't you? So let me just see if I can pull it up on stream because I found a picture of it earlier.
it was about a year ago when we actually got the van signed up as well.
Let's have a look. There it is. Is it? Have you only had it done once? This is like the latest version, isn't it?
Yeah, I've only ever had it done once. Yeah, obviously started off in the car, went to the van. Didn't want to get the van sign written at first because I was worried about the equipment getting stolen.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously it's a big, massive advert for what's inside the van.
Yeah.
But then I realised how much work I was missing out on not having it signed up, so I took the plunge. And then, it's been about 12 months I've had it signed up, and it's paid for itself 1,000 times over quite easily.
Do you often find people are walking over to, because you've got your van sign written, to either grab a card off you, or do you get stopped often?
No, I noticed them. They take pictures of the van.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, I feel like that a lot of people are kind of scared to speak to people. So they'd rather take a picture and send you a text or give you a call on the phone rather than speak to you face to face. That's what I've noticed anyway.
Yeah. And you started out doing, did you start a pressure washing business or did you start an exterior cleaning business?
So I went in the mindset of exterior cleaning straight away. I know some people just go, right, I want to jet wash, I want to clean driveways. And then it gets to like winter and they go, what do we do? I was fortunate enough to start after yourself. So obviously I started watching your journey pretty much from the first one. So obviously I seen you struggle over the first winter. So before I started the business up in May the year after, I kind of knew what to expect to the winter, so I kind of geared up ready for that straight away.
So you knew you were going to be offering gutter clearing and potentially like roof cleaning and stuff?
Not roof cleaning, no, because I was absolutely petrified of heights. We actually had this conversation with Steve the other day. The first roof clean we ever did was on a bungalow, and it took me over an hour to get off the roof.
Really?
Yeah, so I was petrified. Much better now. Don't really mind heights as much. But yeah, still scared. I actually went to, what's it called? Not Fort Park, the other one.
Drayton Manor?
Alton Towers.
Alton Towers.
I actually went to Alton Towers on the weekend because, again, don't like rides, but I managed to get on a couple. So impressing myself in regards to heights. But yeah, definitely in regards to clearing gutters, that was something I needed to do from the get-go.
So you're doing a minimum charge of around about 75 quid for clearing the gutters, and that's to get yourself, that's to get your foot in the door with the customers. What are you adding on? Are you adding on anything for like conservatories or garage, detached garages or anything like that? How do you price those generally?
For the gutters?
Yeah, just to clear them out.
It literally takes you an extra 2 or 3 minutes. If conservatories, I don't really have much. If it's like a four-sided, detached garage, then I'll add an extra 20 quid on or something like that. Or if it's just like the front of a garage, maybe I'll add a tenner on. But generally, I see it as a gutter takes me between 45 minutes on average, between 45 minutes to an hour. If I'm taking £75 a property, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And if I work 10 hours, you do the maths kind of thing. It's quite easy.
I found that with a lot of conservatories, they can be a little bit frustrating sometimes. When they've got the clips that separate the gutter every foot or a metre. And also, sometimes I found that when I'm sliding the poles across the gutters, sometimes you can knock those little caps off.
Yeah, or they'll already have a few knocked off, and then you'll end up backing them up when they're inside your box. Yeah. But yeah, for how long it takes, it's once you set up, it's not that long, is it? Realistically. No. So yeah, I don't really add too much on.
Do you enjoy? You use it as a tool to upsell the gutters, fascias, soffits. Do you enjoy that work?
I don't mind it. I know a lot of people don't like doing FSGs, but I really don't mind it. I find it quite easy, and for me, it's just making the value of your customer go higher. So I know we'll probably get onto advertising later, but in regards to gutter leads, I spend an average about £8 to £9 per lead that I get in. So if I'm converting them, which about 95% I convert, if I can then turn them from a £75 job to a £180 job or £160 job, I still only paid £8 for that lead. Yeah, I'm going to be at the job an extra hour to make sure I can clean the FSGs, but
Are
for
they
what
all
I've spent
qualified
to what I get
leads?
back.
£8 to £9, are they all qualified? Like they're all
Yeah, so it's
in
everyone
your
that's gone in
area?
Google search.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do get the odd one or two that's like 40,000 miles away. And I just literally go on Discord and pass it to someone on Discord. I've done that a couple of times now, but it's very rare. 9 times out of 10, it's local work.
Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know what Craig's talking about, good opportunity to just mention that we run a Discord where you can join through YouTube, and you can get help with quoting, you can get help with identifying all the different surfaces that we clean and come into contact with, deals and discounts, advice with chemicals and stuff. And also we've got a bunch of different suppliers in here that can help with anything you need to know regarding like equipment, chemicals, sealers, all that sort of stuff. And we also pass work to each other. So like Craig said, if something's outside of my camera keeps restarting, I think it's okay. If something's outside of my area, all I'll do is go on the members map and see who's local to that particular area, and then I can just pass work on to other people because I've got all their contact details on our members map. So if you're already a member of the Discord, make sure you're on this members map and make sure you put your contact information on here as well, so that we can actually get in touch with you. Let's have a look. Sorry about that, Craig. Little plug.
That was a dirty little plug, that one.
I was just saying that the that big flat surface cleaner from Rutland Pumps is due to arrive in a couple of weeks. What do you reckon? What are your predictions?
Are we allowed to say true opinions on here?
Of course, that's what this whole thing is all about.
I think it's a load of tosh.
Why?
I just think, as much as it's going to be good, I just don't think. So let's say you've got a 21 litre per minute machine. For that to work, you then need to split your nozzles down to a 10.5 litre per minute going per nozzle, which I've had a 11 litre minute turbo nozzle. It's not very powerful.
What's that, like an O2 or an O3 maybe?
I don't know the actual thing, but it's my first machine. Took ages because obviously it didn't have the power because it's only 11 litres per minute going through the turbo. This is going to be the exact same for anyone with a 21 litre machine. You're going to have two of them, which you've got two turbos that are not very powerful hitting the floor. It's not really going to do much. I'd rather have a single turbo nozzle on full power, 21 litres. You're going to get the job done much quicker than this fancy machine.
Have you factored in the fact that they're spinning though? They're spinning very fast.
A turbo spins very fast anyway. It's just a pencil jet that spins.
Yeah, but you've got a small cone. You've got a small area that it's covering, whereas if it's spinning round rapidly...
Yeah, but if you've got a single turbo nozzle, it's only spinning that one little point until you slowly move it. That's going to move around a lot faster than you would if you're walking back and forth with a lance. I just feel, again, it's going to be mainly used for jobs that are really filthy. So that means all that muck that's flicking up into the turbos. You know how temperamental turbo nozzles can be anyway. If you flick a stone and it knocks one of the turbo nozzles, is it going to unbalance it? Is it then going to mess up the bearings? There's so much that can go wrong in very quick time. It's okay potentially using it on a showroom and do it on a nice even floor. But once you take it into the real world, I think it's just going to fall apart. And I think it's not really built for people like normal people in the industry. Like I said, the industry standard in the 21 litre 200 bar. I think if you're a bit of a 30 litre or maybe higher than that, you may get a little bit out of it. But if you're using a machine that much, you might as well just use a normal flat surface cleaner.
Apparently, people who have used it before say it's good for things like paint stripping and all that sort of stuff. Cedars reckons it's around about 1,800 quid. And Luke says he's a bit shocked that it's not stainless. One thing I would say is when I spoke to Ben, it's that arm, that spinning arm is machined out of a single piece of billet. One, I think, for balance and two for strength as well. So I'd be shocked if something like that does like bend or break. I see what you're saying about splitting the pressure and the flow between two nozzles. I think you're right about like 21 litre per minute style machines. I think 25 and upwards, you might find that it's a little bit more useful. My worry is that when I'm using a turbo nozzle on block paving, for example, and I'm digging out some weeds, I generally find that I'm a set distance from the surface going back and forward, and then when I find a stubborn weed, I can lean in and go a little bit closer to get the weed out. I don't think you're going to be able to do that with this surface cleaner, so I'm curious as to how it's going to actually handle the weeds.
Yeah, it's one of them. I feel like it's just because in the industry it's always been kind of said of, oh, imagine a flat surface cleaner could have turbo nozzles on it. It's one of the things that you should just never happen. But in reality, if it had the exact same effect, it'd be amazing. I just don't think the actual product is what people imagine, if that makes sense. Because, like I say, you can't go lower, you can't bring it higher.
Now
I think
imagine
it'll be good for like your big car parks and things like that, where you've got 1,500 meter square block paving. Things that don't have to generally be a perfect clean all the time. You can just quickly go over, get rid of most of the weeds, most of the stuff in between the joints, generally clean the blocks. I think something like that generally, yes, but I don't know. Until I've seen it, like I say, obviously I can't fully knock it until I've seen it, but I just don't think it's an item for everyone, if that makes sense.
Imagine if it works really well.
Yep.
Could change the game, couldn't it?
It could. It could. I'd like to see it in the industry for a year or so first.
Yeah.
Just to get the really durable. I mean, they're probably going to be clever if they launch it now because it's quiet season for most, so it's not really going to get battered. Let's see that, if that's used every day, 6 hours a day over like, April, March kind of time, then yeah. That's like what Cedar said there. Obviously, we know Ben's obviously going to be testing it, but it's just, is he out there in the real world testing it? Do you know what I mean? It's just,
I think that,
I don't know.
Regen just says America has been using these for years. They are proven. And Cedar's also said it's anodized, so it's not cheap. How are you finding your new setup? You've recently upgraded, haven't you?
Yeah, well, a couple of months about it now. It's absolutely amazing. Just being able to turn up to a job, plug in, turn the machine on, and go. It's a dream come true.
I'm just looking at some of the photos you've sent me. So this is when you first started, when all that kit's in the back of your van.
Car.
Oh, in the back of your car. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, originally, yeah, I started in the back of an A-class.
That's amazing to see how far people have come.
That's a Wilkes. I don't know the name of it. Something 500i or something like that, which is similar to like your starter machine. It's like 11 litres a minute. It was amazing for what it did.
You took the handles off to get it in the van.
Took the handlebars off to get it in the back of the car, yeah. Like I said, I was a bit careful with the car. I did put the blue sheet down, but the back of the car was getting ruined and wrecked.
I remember I didn't know it was you, but I remember someone coming into the chat and saying, I'm working out the back of my A-class, and I thought, God, you must be mad. It's not even a big car, is it?
No, it's very small, very small. So I'll quickly, because I didn't know if I'd enjoy the work. I know some people, they come in and go, right, I'm spending $5,000 on equipment, $5,000 on a van. Like, how do I get jobs? And it's like, well, you need to know if you enjoy the work first. So generally, I said, start working at the back of the car, see if I liked it. I enjoyed it. So then I sold the car and then bought the van from there. It got messy in the back of it.
Someone was asking in the Discord the other day about the smell of hypo. They can't get rid of the smell of hypo in the cabin. I didn't realise. I think they're working out their car as well.
So that's when I very first got my van. That's when I upgraded from the car to the van.
Yeah.
The amount of space I had was just unbelievable. I was like, oh my God, I've got space.
It's such a nice feeling when... So this is the issue with like getting a van, is you get one that you think is going to be perfect size, and then you fill it with new equipment, and then you think, God, I should have got a bigger van.
That's the exact same van I've still got today.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, that's the good old Wilkes.
And now look how far you've come. Look at that beast. Is this so? You're using a 21 litre per minute Briggs and Stratton now? Is that it?
Yes. Yeah, that's the bad boy there.
Do you find have you had any issues with leaks on your low pressure hose?
When I very first got it, yes, which I think is standard, just because everything's not settled in properly yet. But after like the first week, no.
Because that's my main concern with having a big low pressure hose in the van like that is every low pressure hose I've had has leaked pretty bad.
I think so. One issue that I've got with it that I do need to change is, like, you can see the connect. I changed the connector on the end of it to that one, which is one. a Gardner one, but it's the ones that stop flow. So obviously when you unplug it and you're rattling it up, all the water's still inside the hose, so there's still a lot of weight sat there.
Yeah.
So I've actually stripped that out now, so it drains when I'm reeling it up, rather than having all the weight just sat in your low pressure hose.
That's a good idea. I've found that since switching to, I've got some big chunky orange ones, and I think I got them from let me see. I got them from the water irrigation website because they were super cheap. Since I've switched to those, they're so much better.
I just give Mark a load of. So the reason I was on late, by the way, is that obviously I was met Mark at the expo. He bought a brand new machine. Well, I think he bought a part-owned machine from Darren while he was there, but he didn't have a buff tank, so I said he could have mine. So he's just come down. I've just given him a massive handful of like tap connectors.
Oh, nice.
Because I bought them for like 7p each from water irrigation when they had the massive discount.
Yeah,
I bought like 150 of them or something.
Cedars mentioned that they were doing this crazy sale, and yeah, stuff's just like 7p, 10p. These are the ones I got.
I bought loads.
19mm 3/4 inch ones.
It's probably very similar to the one I've got on mine, yeah.
And these are great because you can tighten them up properly. I had the brass ones before, and the brass ones are rubbish. They kept anytime the hose bent, it just started pissing water out. Really annoying.
My one's broke after like 2 weeks, but that one's working. I've had no issues with it. It was just the fact it was holding water in the hose, so I just ripped out the thing in the middle just so it could drain out.
Yeah. So all you've literally got to do now is pull out your hose, plug it into the customer's tap to start filling your tank. You're probably already turning up with a quarter of a tank. Anyway, do you drive around with water?
To half a tank, yeah.
Yeah.
I try not to, but yeah, about a quarter to half a tank. It depends what kind of pressure they've got. If I know they've got really bad pressure, then I'll fill the tank before I go, just so I know I can get a good start on before it stops. But I use that time to go and drop leaflets off anyway. If I'm waiting for the tank to fill up, I'll just go and drop some leaflets in the area while I'm waiting.
I feel like you are one of the most proactive, driven people I know when it comes to this business. Like, you never sat around sort of waiting for the phone to ring. You're out there knocking doors, dropping leaflets, and doing everything you can to make the business work.
You've got to be. At the end of the day, for every, if you're not doing it, someone else is. So, the customers out that you win out there, if you didn't win them, someone else would have won them. So, like I say, if you stop, your competitor's not going to stop.
Have you had
it's not always down to like prices or anything like that, neither. It's just about getting your face out there, making sure people know who you are and becoming the go-to guy.
This year's been like a very weird year, especially the summer when everyone expected to be really busy. Everyone was coming into the chat complaining that they're super quiet. Even people that have been doing this job for over 10 years have said like this year was weird because even they're quiet. The established businesses have found that they're very quiet. Have you had any? Has that affected you at all this year? Have you had any really quiet spells where you thought, crap, I need to do something else, I'm not going to be able to pay the bills, sort of thing?
No, not for us. I know, obviously, I was in the Discord when people was coming in saying there's no work coming in. What shall I do? Well, first of all, don't go in the Discord and say what shall I do. Go out there and do something about it. No, because as you said, I don't like to sit still. I like to stand still. If I'm not got work coming to me, I'll go out and get the work. And I feel like a lot of people I feel like the general search for pressure washing in the industry slowed down. Plus, I feel like there was not a lot more newcomers this year than most of the years. And like I said, the newcomers are more hungry than the older people. They get to the point where they're kind of established, and they sit and wait for the phone because they're like, well, I've been running 10 years. I'm always busy. The phone always rings. But because obviously the new kids come on the block and they start knocking the doors and putting the leaflets out and getting to the customers before it gets to the point of them going on Google, I feel like that's why the people that have been in the industry longer have slowed down a bit.
So you think the game's
Yeah,
changing?
it is, and the thing is, people are realizing, it's not the hardest job in the world. It's just more about learning about the job, learning about what you do and how to do it properly. That's the bit that takes time, which people learn all the time. But I've seen people in the industry for like 5, 6, 7 years that are still terrible at it because this is my way I do it. It doesn't matter. I'm going to do it this way, and the customers are happy. So why does it matter? Kind of thing. But then there's people that generally take interest and research into it properly that are doing jobs 6 months in that are better than some of the people that have been doing it for 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, I think it's quite a low barrier to entry to join the industry and to get the equipment and start generating work. But
I think
my skill threshold,
my initial set was 400 quid all in. That included
Same.
hoses.
Yeah, same.
Which is one job, realistically. 2 jobs maybe.
Yeah, and I think those that have taken the time to jump on YouTube, ask questions, join communities, and try and do things properly, and they're a little bit hungry for it, I think I can see why the people have been, that have been doing the same thing and relying on the same methods for the last 5 to 10 years might be starting to slow down. I think the game is changing. I think those older chaps that have got comfortable potentially aren't so versed in social media, and so I think if people aren't doing social media, they are going to fall behind no matter how established they are, unless they've got these massive commercial contracts and stuff when they're not relying on residential work. I think residential work is going to go mostly social media. You're spending quite a lot of money on ads, aren't you? Is that Facebook or is that Google or both?
I only advertise via Google. I'm actually my real big down point that I've got is I don't really do much social media, which is something I always tell myself and kick myself after like 2 or 3 weeks of not posting. Like, right, you need to post every day, blah blah blah. I'll do 2 or 3, and then I'll leave it 2 or 3 weeks again. Because I do see an increase when I do post on socials, but I do see a slight increase because we're in this weird, like, obviously you got people scrolling, your TikToks and Facebooks and stuff like that, late at night, and people generally like the person that's doing it. It's not the job. It's, they can sometimes commit to the person and go, right, I want you to do this job for me because I like the way you did it on that way.
People buy from
you
people.
probably get yourself. That's it. You probably get yourself like, I'm 4 hours away, but I want you to do the job, no one else. Charge me extra for the travel. I don't care. That's just the way people are these days. I think that's happened since COVID. I think obviously people have gone a lot more social media driven, if that makes sense. As weird as it sounds, like I've always kind of hated social media. I've never really been a social media person. But I think since COVID, when obviously the only way you could communicate with people was social media, I think it's become a bit more of a key factor in most things, especially business.
I think this industry lends itself to it's very visual work. It's very satisfying. Before and afters, satisfying videos, time lapses. Like, why wouldn't you do social media? And like, I think if someone's not doing it, it's a massive missed opportunity. And you don't even, I think people confuse social media with, becoming an influencer. And it's not about being an influencer and necessarily being on camera yourself. Just post satisfying content. Just prove to people that you get the results that they need. And just keep posting regularly.
Yeah, as like Luke said, obviously in the chat, there's obviously newcomers going in doing £400 to be cleaned and sanded. That doesn't bother me in the slightest. All that means is then people are going to realise that there's not really much money in the industry. Doing it at that rate, they quickly sell the kit, and then come next year, I've now got myself a customer. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably good that
People
people
get
are doing cheap crap work, because that helps us, the ones that are more established and the ones that are doing good work. And because the
Yeah,
customers
it
then
does.
going to
It's
learn that they shouldn't really rely on whoever's cheapest. It shouldn't be a race to the bottom.
That's it. And the thing is, if you're ready to actually make a business out of it, you shouldn't just be looking like, what am I doing this week? What am I doing this month? It should be, okay, where am I going to be next year? What am I going to be doing the year after that? Some people get too focused on what other people are doing, where they're at with their, how they started and where they're at now, rather than just focusing on themselves. There is obviously a lot of, jealous cleaners out there that go, it's one of them. I think if people focused on their own business a lot more, the business would be so much more successful. But they're too busy looking at everyone else, going, "Well, why is he doing that? And then why is he just focus on yourself?"
Yeah, it does. It does bother me a little bit when, not to the point where I want it to stop, but it bothers me a little bit when people come into the Discord and they'll post screenshots. Look at this guy; he's doing £20 a side for gutter clearing, or he's doing, £60 any drive. And the energy that's just taken to scroll, look into that person's profile, take a screenshot, but it's not productive, and these people aren't our competition, so we just don't need to worry about them, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I say, I've seen people posted on they'll post like a couple of images, and one will say like any house £55. The next picture will say £45 any house. And it's like, well, you don't even know your own prices, never mind what the customer's going to think.
Yeah, and these are generally people that are in their first couple of weeks of business as well. They've literally just started the majority of the time, because it's not sustainable. You find very quickly that something breaks and you can't afford to fix it because you're not charging enough. You never get past that point of just earning quick cash. It never turns into a sustainable business.
To be fair, there's a couple of established. What I find is it's the different industries that go quiet over winter, that come into gutters. They go really cheap, so I think they're just looking just to cover the wages, kind of thing. Like I've seen, some landscapers and some roofers and stuff, which don't know why roofers would slow down, but roofers and things like that, they'll come in the industry and go, right, any property, 30 quid. And it's like, behind you, why come in and go in such a cheap rate? Learn the industry rate kind of thing. But yeah, it baffles me.
Yeah. I lost you for a minute there. I think it might froze on your end. I think my end's fine, but I'm not sure.
Probably me.
Cedar says, I've done many drives for 90 quid when I started, pal. I can assure you, if I was short of work and the equipment sat there and my children need feeding, I would do as many £90 drives as possible.
See, I agree and I disagree. The main reason I disagree with is the time and effort it's going to take you to clean 3 driveways at £90. You could go out and get a decent job at 300 quid.
Oh,
it's going to take you a full day, realistically.
I see what you're saying. So instead of cleaning that £90 drive, spend that a couple of hours going out, generating leads, finding more work.
Yeah. Right, yeah. So rather than spending, I understand it. Everyone's situations are different. Some people, generally like, I've got 4 days to find 300 quid. I need to go out and just do, 3 driveways at £100 just to kind of pay the bills. But come next year, customer then is going to want £100 again.
That's the issue, is when they call you back next year.
Everyone's situation is different, but the way I see it is, rather than me spending the time and effort to go and find £300 jobs, I'll use the same amount of time and effort and find one for £300. And then next year, I've got a £300 job coming in. That's going to take me half a day, rather than 3 £100 jobs. That's going to take me a full day.
Yeah.
And getting paid the same, but I'm only doing half the work.
And also, what I found is, I don't know whether my situation is different because I've got a bit of a following on social media and YouTube and stuff, but I found that most of my customers aren't necessarily cost driven. They want quality. And I don't know how many customers that applies to outside of my customers, because they can see online that we do good work, They can see that we get good results. And so that bit is already done for me. I don't necessarily need to prove myself to the customer. They already know. You know what I mean? Most of the quotes that I'm going to visit, they already know.
That goes back to people buying to people. I think they've already know who you are, know what you do. So obviously, you're not really hidden with your prices online neither. So I think they already kind of roughly gauge a price from you anyway. They know what they're going to get. I don't think they're coming to you and then going to another 2 or 3 other people to get a quote.
So if I was unknown and I went and knocked on someone's door, do you think it would be harder for me to sell that service? It's a bit of a loaded question, really.
1,000%, yeah. But the thing is, it's like, and people say Jake's Mount's lucky. He's made it online. That's how he gets all his quotes. That's how he gets all these things.
Who's saying that?
But what people don't. Well, there will be. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of people saying Jake's always busy because he's online famous and all that kind of crap. But what they don't realize is, when they're sat at home at night for 2 or 3 hours at a time, you're out there editing. So you put in. There's 2 ways to load up your business. The way I see it, you can either put in time to your business or you can put in money. If you put in money, you don't really need to put in as much time. But if you don't have the money, then you need to put in more time. And what I mean by that is, you can go out and do a job for £100 and then you can spend £100 in adverts, kind of thing. So, you're kind of paying yourself, where you can go out and do a job for £100 and go, right, I'm going to save the £100. I'm going to spend an hour posting on social media, kind of thing. Or I'm going to go out and do door knocking for an hour, where obviously you spent your time to build up what you've got. Where I'm doing it the other way around. I'm doing it by spending the money on Google Ads. So, do you know what I mean? It's one of them, like, you can spend 3 hours getting 100 eyes on yourself, or earn, £250, and then I'll spend the £250 and get 100 eyes on myself, kind of thing. There's 2 ways to do it, and people just think it's kind of lucky to do it online and things like that. They don't realize that the amount of time and effort that actually goes behind the scenes.
It's not luck. It's been 5 years of incredibly hard work, very late nights, working 6-7 days a week on the business. And for someone can come in and see the profile, see the YouTube page and think, I think it's easy because they just see that snapshot of what the business looks like from the outside, but they haven't taken into account the amount of videos I've done that have got, a couple of views, and all those hours that I've spent editing and then not uploading something because I didn't think it was quite good enough, or there was the editing software crashed and I lost all the footage, or whatever it might have been. There's been so much work behind the scenes that have built to this moment, and I'm not special. I've yes, I've got a bit of a background in. I've edited. I've been to car meets and done some filming and edited some videos and stuff. But it's just stuff that I've learned on YouTube. Anyone can do what I'm doing, and the fact that I started this when I had a full-time job, I've got a family to feed, and I'm just doing it on. I was just doing it on evenings and weekends with no money. I didn't have any sort of budget to start up with. If I can do it, like what I'm trying to tell people is anyone can do it, and it's not okay for me because I get customers and stuff. That's not the point. People are missing the point. It's you just got to focus on something and stay consistent with it. And I think you have been very successful with your Google ads because you've been very consistent with them. But do you know what you're spending on Google ads roughly at the minute?
So mine's changed. Obviously, in the summer, I was probably about 1,500 a month, if not a bit more, because I ran pressure washing ads for 2 locations, and I also ran a gutter ad still in 1 location. So at the start of
£1,500 a month, that's a hell of a lot of money. And to someone that's I think so. To someone who's just started. When you say £1,500 a month, that sounds not achievable. It sounds like that I could never get to the point where I'm spending that sort of money on adverts. But it's a slow build, and you're doing it because you've proved to yourself that it generates work and that it pays for itself.
So the way I see it is £1,500 a month. When you first started out, would you say you average you did about 3 hours a day in regards to social media, video editing, and things like that?
Um, I don't know, like upload into Instagram and Facebook before and after pictures and stuff. That'll probably take 15-20 minutes, but editing the reels and the shorts and stuff, that is a bit of a process. So I'd say a couple of hours a day, maybe.
So if you're doing, I say, so if you're doing 3 hours a day on average, well, 2 3 hours a day, it's £1,500 a month. It's only £55 a day. And I know I say only 55, and people are going, still, it's 55 a day. If you can write, like, this is what I mentioned a minute ago, you can rather go down the paying route or the time route. I can go do one gutter in 45 minutes. That's going to pay for my ads. You couldn't do all your social media work in 1 hour. Where I've just done one job in an hour and paid for everything. And it's like, it's hard to explain because people think you've got to give £1,500 up front. I've got no money in the bank. It's 1,500 quid. I don't have £1,500 to advertise. It doesn't work like that. Obviously, when you're spending that kind of money, as long as you... Thing is with me, obviously, I slowly started up. I was on £15 a day on adverts, which works out, what, like 400 quid, £450 a month. It's not, it's not a major amount, but that's what I started at. And after the first week, I'd probably made like £300 or £400 back. So I paid me ads and I had extra.
Were you taking a wage from the business from the beginning? Or was it all going back in?
So, yes and no. I took literally what I needed and everything else went straight back in, straight onto adverts. Because the thing is, for me, like I say, I think I mentioned it last time I was here, I've got like a 5-year plan. And the first 2 or 3 years of that is generally just to build up as many clients as possible. Like I say, if I turn around to you and said, right, give me £10,000 and I'll give you 1,000 customers, you'd bite me hand off and you'd send me £10,000 to get 1,000 guaranteed customers with an average spend of, £125 or £150 per customer. You'd be like, hands down, it's not a no-brainer.
Per year.
That's all I'm doing. Well. That's all I'm doing. I'm just doing it a long game. They
stack as well, don't they? Those customers stack.
Yeah, of course they do.
Every relationship you build, I think that's what people forget in the beginning, that they're thinking about getting in and getting out, earning as much money as possible in the shortest time frame as possible, but they're not thinking about the relationship you need to be building with the customer to make sure you're doing a good job, to make sure you're actually taking the time to talk to them, which I'm not very good at, talking to people generally. But that can sometimes solidify the phone call next year. Oh, that guy was nice. I remember. Sometimes they're not going to remember the fact that you did a good job. They'll remember you and how conscientious you were and how nothing was too much trouble. And
the most important thing for me in this industry when you first start out is a good CRM system. And what I mean by that is a good place to store your clients. Like I say, I pay for every customer I get. 9 times out of 10, obviously you get the recommendations and you get the people on the streets, but I pay for most of my customers. So for me to pay for my customer and then lose their details and wait for them to contact me, it was pointless me paying for the customer in the first place. And this is what I go back to. Like, say, for a gutter lead, it averagely cost me about £8 or £9. So if I've got you again next year, I've then had 2 gutter jobs off you for £9. If I get you the year after, I'm not spending £9 every time to get you in. I've already got your details. So now you've become a free customer. So now you're pure, in my age, you're now pure profit.
Yeah, and it's much easier to upsell a current customer than it is to try and generate a new lead.
So I say, for me, year 1, try to get 100 customers. I think once you get your first 100, that's the hardest thing to do, is get your first 100 customers. It's very difficult and very hard. Once you kind of got that barrier, then they start recommending their family and friends, and things just start spiraling. You'll get a call. Oh, do you remember? Do you do gutters? And you did a driveway back in May. Like, yeah, no problem. Oh, my neighbour also wants theirs. Can you do both at the same time? Things like that is, it's massive. And it's like, say, if you get 100 customers year 1, and then let's say just half of them return year 2, you've only got to pay for another 50 customers and you've had a repeat of year 1. But then if you paid for another 100 customers, you've now got 150 customers in year 2. If you then repeat that the year after, you've then got 175 customers, but you're only paying for 100 customers each year.
Yeah. So I think I made
a bit... in 5 years' time, you've got 300 or 400 customers constantly rolling over.
Stacking.
And now you're not spending anything. Yeah, you don't need to spend anything anymore because you've got enough people going to keep going. I'd still probably always advertise. It's up to you. People built their businesses differently. You can rather stop and go, right, I'm comfortable, I'm earning X amount a year, this is where I want to be. Or you can go, I'm going to keep spending, I'm going to get another van on the road.
Matt says, sometimes people forget you. I did a job last year. Client was over the moon, left me a review, saw them ask on Facebook for someone to do the same job this year. I messaged to ask if there was a problem with my service. They just genuinely forgot my company name, despite being given a flyer, email, WhatsApp chain, and then following me on Facebook. Yeah.
So
go on.
There's an easy way to stop that. I contacted all my pressure washing customers 11 months after the job. Just to let you know, it's nearly been 12 months. All my customers, even gutters, fascias, anything that I've done, I always contact them around 11 months prior. I don't wait till the 12-month time, because if people get it done in May, it's going to get to May and they're going to go, who was that again? I can't remember. I've lost the number on the phone, or I've got a new phone, I've lost a leaflet, I'm just going to ring round. Where if you're contacting them, a month earlier, they go, oh yeah, next month, put me in, same again. You don't let them forget you. You've bought their details, you paid for theirs, go out and get them constantly. Make sure they know who you are. People will forget who you are because, they see 1,000 window cleaners or gutter clearers and stuff like that scrolling through Facebook and stuff. But if you're contacting ringing them, hi Jan, it's Craig from last year. Oh, how you doing? Oh, perfect. Just giving you a call, and it's been 11 months. I'm usually booked up 4 or 6 weeks in advance. Just wanted to go up and slot you in roughly around the same time as last year. Yeah, same again. No problem. I'll see you then. Simple as that.
So I think my issue when I first started, and Ryan from Curbside, he shouted at me because he's like, "What are you doing?" I wasn't storing any of my customers' details. So any person that I did work for the first couple of years, I had a calendar entry for the job on the day. If I remembered, I might have put their phone number in the calendar somewhere and the price. But once that passed and I did the job, I'd have no way of contacting that customer again in the first place. And that's a huge missed opportunity because, like you say, and like Matt says, people do forget. And quite often people are thinking about having this stuff done, like getting their gutters cleared or getting their driveway cleaned, but sometimes they wait for something to happen. Like some people know their gutters need cleaning, but until it starts leaking out in front of their front door, they're not prompted to get it done. And so if you can just drop them a little text to remind them, I did them last year, do you need them doing again? Or did you know I do roofs now? Anything like that. It's what are you doing? Where are you storing your customers and how are you reaching out to them?
So I have a CRM system that's only built for Apple. It's not built for this industry. It's not good for this industry. It's just I used it on a previous job, so I know how to use it, and I've made it work for this. So it's whatever works for you. Like I say, I shout at Steve on a daily basis because he's still pen and paper. He scrolls back on his phone to pictures he took 12 months ago to remind him of the driveways he did and things like that. I shout him daily to get onto an actual online system where you can literally just go, right, it's November next month. Let me scroll to November last year, and then I can literally just click the day and go, right, okay, I did that. Click what job it was, click the customer, click ring. Right, I did you on the 12th of thingy last year. Do you want me to come put you in again? Dead simple, dead easy.
Are you having to do that for each customer?
I can filter mine, so I can literally filter mine for January, and I can just go and literally just click ring, and just go through and bring them all.
Yeah.
But that's one of the main things. But just to go back onto the YouTube chat, because I think we've just missed a couple of things. Mm-hmm. So Mark mentioned text blasting, spring and fall. Yes, but people, I was the same. I always thought I was annoying people if I text them more than twice in a year. But how many times do you get a text message from Nike or Adidas or the local takeaway or things like that? You get texts every week and you're not bothered, but one time you'll get a text and go, actually I want to use that. So if you're doing a generic text across because some of these CRM systems you can do a spam text or a mass text, shall I say. You're doing a generic text oh, it's now January, if you've not had your gutters done yet, get in touch, or if you want to pre-book ready for summer, just things like that, and just scale it to each month. There's nothing wrong with like messaging once a month.
It's the same with content. When some people think they're posting too much content is going to annoy their viewer base or their customers, and it's actually the opposite. Sometimes they're not being fed your content, and the one time they need it is when they get fed it, and it's like you can't post too much on any of these platforms. You cannot post too much, even if it's similar content. Ideally, don't post the same content over and over again, because the algorithm's not going to push it so well. But if you're posting similar content or stuff that people have seen before, I've had this internal struggle for a while. Is like when I did my first tarmac ceiling job, when I filmed it and put it on YouTube, I thought I had a couple coming up, and I thought, there's no point in me filming that because I've already done one. And that's totally the wrong mindset. It's that new video that I make is going to be fed to potentially a different audience, and it's going to serve the audience that I generated before from that last video. And you can't post too much. So it's the same thing with these mass texts as well.
Yeah.
It's a mild annoyance if you don't want the service, but for those customers that do want it, it's going to absolutely pay off for you.
For a text message once a month, if you think, if your text pinged up saying someone's offering gutters, you ignore it. But let's say you send a text message out in January and someone needs it in March. They're not going to remember you. They might not remember your text from January, but if you've just literally texted them like a week ago, oh, that person texted me a week ago, scroll down, done. It's about,
I'd probably
stuff
keep
like
it
that,
fresh.
it's about getting people at the right time. Yeah.
I'd probably do something slightly different. If it's going to be once a month, I think once a month is maybe too often for the same text, same service. But if you say like,
you can word it differently though, because you do have like the different seasons of work. Yeah. You've got like you can kind of tailor it to gutters and tailor it to a driveway, and you can, there's so many different things you do in the industry. You can do each test message. Did you know I actually clean conservatories? The person you're messaging might have a conservatory, but the mum does, or the neighbour does, or their auntie does, or the sister does. Or did you know I actually clean FSGs? Oh, you just done my gutters like 2 months ago. I didn't know you did that. Yeah. Can you actually come and do that? It's just, it doesn't have to be I clean driveways every single month kind of thing. It's just, you can tailor it and reword it and make it look a bit different every time, just to kind of make sure the customer knows every service that you offer. Mm-hmm. It's just little things like that.
John says, what's your thoughts on the VAT threshold potentially being brought down to 30k? Will this have a big effect on the industry?
So I've seen that, and that's on Facebook, isn't it?
Yes. I'm actually going to see if my accountant can come on in a couple of weeks to chat about all this, because there's quite a lot of change in like digital accounting and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's worth chatting to him. I think Mitch mentioned it to me.
I think for a professional response, yes, wait for Mitch. I think for a response of someone that's in the industry, though I think it'll affect us much. Yes and no. Yes, because now people that are already struggling just to pay the bills are no longer really going to be able to fully afford your services that much, because you're going to have to put your price up 20%. So our job that's now £200 is now £240, which is a big game changer. Because it's one of them. You can go very political with this, and I'm not going down that route, but people are already struggling as it is. Adding 20% on every single service that they now need to pay for. It's not just us. It's anything that, if their taps leak, anything that they need doing. It's not us that are going to be paying for it. It's the customer. So the customers, the general people are going to be down a lot more money than normal.
I would have thought that VAT threshold of, was it 90 grand at the minute, is in place so that anyone earning over 90 grand is generally doing commercial business to business work where VAT is more appropriate. But under 90 grand, you can earn a decent living from residential work and still be below the VAT threshold. Whereas now, I think if they drop it to 30 grand, you're going to find a lot of businesses that only serve residential customers having to charge VAT, and I don't think that's the place for VAT. I think VAT should be charged business to business, not business to customer, or business to consumer.
The thing is, we don't fully know what it is. There's rumours of it coming down to 30k and it going to 10%. there's rumours, it could coming down to 30k and it being 10% up to the 90k, then it goes up to 20, kind of like a tax thing. We don't know. It's all he say, she say at the moment. The only thing for definite that's happening is your tax returns are going every 3 months, and it also has to be digital.
That's definite.
That's already it's in play as of the next tax year.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, if you didn't know that, it's already kind of in play now.
Vital says, "Hi Jake, I love how crisp your videos look. Are you using an iPhone or an action camera to record?" I only use an action camera for time lapse, the time lapse angles. I use my Google Pixel 9 Pro for everything else. Almost every shot that you see in my videos is just my phone, and then the action camera is the one that does the time lapses. Tintin says, "I send a message to every customer asking for a Google review, prompting them asking for either window cleaning or gutter cleans. Personalized messages to summer customers who interest I had registered for gutters, had close to £1,000 worth of work drummed up within the first 30 to 40 messages sent."
Yeah.
Is Miller Mason a good brand? What's that? Do you know that?
Never heard of it.
Auto reply on WhatsApp. What's your thoughts on auto replies?
Miller Mason looks like one of the first. I think they kind of make the Wilks.
Okay.
No, in a nutshell.
Do you like auto replies on like WhatsApp, Google, Facebook when you get an inquiry and it says thanks for your inquiry, whatever?
I don't actually have it set up. I should, especially on Facebook, because the number one issue with Facebook, someone will come to you and say, "I want my gutters doing." You message them, you wait 4 days, they message you back. "Oh, here's my address." You message them, giving a price. So I do need to set this up on Facebook to automatic reply. "Please can you send me your contact number and your address, and what service you're after?" Just something like that, so I can get all the information I need straight away and literally give them a quote, rather than if a lead comes in just normally, I've already got the number, so I can actually speak to them. With Facebook, people for me seem very lackadaisical or don't see your message very well.
There's so much back and forth.
Yeah, just give me your number and let me just message you. So I don't have it set up, but it's definitely something I meant to set up the other day, actually. So you have just reminded me to do that.
This was a massive problem for my business, being on all the different social media platforms, having messages come through on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, text message, phone calls, voicemails, Facebook Messenger, And so what I did was set up an automatic response to tell people, frequently asked questions. I'm based in Redditch, because this is always what they ask. They say, which areas do you cover? Where are you based? I'm based in Redditch. These are the areas I cover. Generally, we'll go all over for the right job. I offer these services. If you're interested in a quote, please fill out this contact form. So there's a link to a Google contact form, and I'll specifically say, if you don't fill out your name and address, you won't get a response, like your full address, because quite often it's a certain type of people as well. They don't like to give you they don't like to give you their full address for whatever reason. I don't really understand it. So
I get it. I get people ring me and they go, "I need my gutters clearing." "Okay, can I take your postcode and door number?" No, it's just assembly attached. "How much?"
Yeah.
"Can I take your door number and postcode?" It's like, I don't want to give you that yet. It's like, well, I can't quote it because I don't know what access there is. I don't know if I've got to take all my gear around the back of the house. I don't know if I don't know. I don't know what it looks like, so I generally can't price it. Sorry.
Yeah. And they're approaching you, so I don't know what the issue is. When someone's searched for a business and they found someone that they're happy with, and they're calling you, you're not calling them out of the blue asking for their address. They're calling you, so I don't really understand it. But I'll specifically say, if you don't give me all those details, you won't get a response. And so that sends people through this contact form. They must fill out all these details to be able to submit a form. You can also attach photos at the bottom if you want to, so it's a very easy to set up on Google Sheets and Google Forms. You can also then link that with literally a click of a button, link it to a Google Sheet, which will then set up a spreadsheet automatically with all those questions, And then anytime someone fills in that response form, you get an email to say check your response form, and you'll have their name, address, phone number, email address, and even photos. And so that filters out all the people that were never going to get the work done in the first place, because some people just either message you to mess you about. They want to figure out your pricing. Some people just want to chat, and the amount of time you're wasting going back and forward with all these messages, when instead you can just send them to one place, it's much more efficient for your time. Some people will, if they're not prepared to fill out this form, then I'm not prepared to spend my time talking to them, with potential customers anyway.
Yeah, so it's like we slightly discussed this last week at the Sausage Fest about face-to-face quotes. Now, if you're not busy, I advise doing every single quote you can face-to-face, but also becomes a point where you go, right, I've got to drive 40 minutes now to quote you for a job, and if you say no, I've then got a 40-minute drive back, and I've just wasted an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So you kind of... I try and give any gutter. I do gutters over the phone. I've never gone and visited a gutter and get a price. I've always given it over the phone. Any job that looks like it's going to be under the £300 mark, I will just do it over the phone. Anything above that, or anything like a certain detail that I need to realistically go and see, then I got to go and do face to face. Even some roof quotes. It's one of them. You kind of get a bit of a feeling on the phone if someone's being genuine, if they actually want a quote, or if not. If I get a feeling that they're, just kind of fishing for a price, I'll just give them a price on the phone, because otherwise you're driving all that way to say it's going to be, £900 for your roof, and they go, oh, probably like 200 quid.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to weed out the time wasters, and it does come with the more you do it, the more you'll learn which ones are wasting your time. You just get a feeling.
It's a big thing with roof cleans, isn't it? People massively underestimate the cost of a roof clean. I think if you're landing 1 or 2 of every 10 roof cleaning quotes that you do, that's around about average, and it's because people are expecting to have their roof cleaned for like 300 or 400 quid, and it's just like my minimum charge for any roof now is like 750 upwards.
Ours is 950.
Is it?
Yeah, it's just the amount of work, and the way I explained, don't forget, me and Steve, we go 50-50 on any roof that we get. So 950 sounds like great, but by the time you've done a tower hire and stuff like that, you're down to like 850, which is 425 each, which we can get doing a driveway to gutter quite easily. Doing the work on a roof to earn 425, it's not great.
Yeah,
it's not. You don't rest. It's very hard work, very draining. So minimum has to be 950.
Yeah. Jay says, is it Google local ads he's running?
So it's just Google ads. Google ads and Google local ads. It's pretty much the same thing. You do have the local pages, which is your My Google page, which will help push in the local area. But just standard Google ads.
Sightseeing says, how long did you have the Wilks machine for?
Too long. So when I very first started, I didn't just go all guns blazing. I was doing a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and then doing the occasional Saturday and Sunday. So I probably had it for about 3 or 4 months, if not a bit longer.
I think I had my little machine for about 6 months before it sprung a massive oil leak on someone's patio that I just cleaned.
My issue is I don't know if yours was the same. Did you have like the really thin high pressure hose?
Mm-hmm.
So it just splits so quick and so easy. So generally, I used to have to buy them off Amazon for like 20 quid for a 20-meter hose. I used to have like 2 in the van at all times because it was getting to the point where I couldn't even do a job without it splitting.
Really?
So I was pricing in for an extra hose every time I did a job, but I might only have 1 job on 1 week, or I might have 2 jobs on the week after, or I might even go a weekend without a job. I wasn't really that busy when I first started out because I didn't know if I wanted to do it. I was just doing it for like family and friends and people that recommended or things like that. I wasn't spending money when I first started. It was just if a job came in, I did it.
How important do you think that is to dip your toes in before you start the job? Because some people are dropping 5 to 10 grand on equipment before they've even touched a pressure washer, and they're choosing this as their new career path. They're leaving their comfortable office job, that they've got this secure, safe income and comfortable environment to go out and play with pressure washers in the rain, get absolutely plastered in muck. What do you think?
Thing is, to me, I have loads of people saying, "I want to start a pressure washing business." My number one advice is don't do it. And you're like, what do you mean? It's like you don't have you're not the kind of person that's going to succeed in the industry. Like, it takes a certain person to succeed in this industry, and the first one is you've got to learn to manage expectations of the business. People see online like, oh, this person's made £10,000 a month and they've only started 3 months ago. Great. Most people only earn just enough to cover the wages, if not that. Like, it's very hard to get into. And then the people go, right, I've got 15 grand saved up. I'm going to spend it all on equipment. No, spend it as little as you can on equipment. Make sure
they've got no experience generating leads, customers, advertising, marketing themselves.
Realistically, to get started in this industry with a really good machine, you're probably looking about 2 to 3 grand, I reckon. That's everything you need, including chemical applicator,
minus a van,
flat surface cleaner, decent, without a van. I mean, but even then, you can kind of structure around. I know there's 1 or 2 lads that just hire a van and they go, right, okay, I'll book on my working for 1 weekend. Or I'll book my work in for like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll take a Friday off work and I'll hire a van on the Friday and I'll drop it back off on the Sunday and price it into the jobs.
Yeah.
Just to get enough to go, right, okay, I've now got 2 or 3 grand saved up. I can now go buy a van that's going to get me around to start off with. And then once I've got, a bit more, I can trade this in and upgrade the van.
I think if you're going to do that, it's worth hiring from a proper pressure washer supplier rather than from just a local hire place, because those local hire places, generally, they've got big bowsers attached to the machines, which are just clumsy. And the machines and the nozzles are generally built for just rinsing down building sites after, it's just light rinsing. It's not deep cleaning driveways generally. So if you can hire from someone like Darren at PWS or Ollie at Pressure Washer Sales and Service, or I don't know if AC Pressure Washers hire out equipment, but those would be the sort of guys I'd go to hire machines rather than local hire places.
Even that's like the entry, like I say, you can go down the route that me and you went, which is obviously the really cheap, models, which generally need 400 or 500 quid and you can operate out your car. Or you can go a bit higher than that, spend like 2-3 grand, get all the kit that you need that'll last you for 2 or 3 years. But if you've got like 10 grand saved, you shouldn't be spending that. You should be saving that for when you don't have work coming in and that still covers your bills.
The last thing you want is 10 grand's worth of equipment sat in the shed and no customers.
And your bills are due out in like 2 weeks and you go, your missus goes, well, you had 10 grand in the bank, where's it gone? So, well, I've got a new shiny machine. I can clean our driveway for us.
Yeah.
So, but I can't sand it because I've got no money to buy sand for us. But it's just, people look at business the wrong way sometimes, and it's one of them. It's you need to dip your toes in to understand you like the work first. I know a lot of people have done it, bought all the kit, done 2 jobs and gone, this ain't for me.
Yeah, and to see if you cut out for it, to see if you're actually, for a lot of people, this is the first time being self-employed, and sometimes being self-employed and running your own business just isn't. It's not for a lot of people. They think it might be, but then they realise they're a lot more comfortable. The amount of people that have been in the Discord that have recently set up their business and then said, my old boss made me an offer I couldn't refuse. That line I see so many times, or I've been offered a job and they're going to pay me. They've given me an offer I can't refuse. And it's like, what you really mean is self-employment is more difficult than you expected. So I'm going back to regular employment.
The thing is, with the main difference is, for me, when you're employed by someone, once you finish work, you go home, you complain to the wife or whatever, or your partner or something about the job you've done and about the day and stuff like that, but then it's done. It's not your problem. When you're self-employed, you don't. It's 24/7. You don't ever switch off. It's physically impossible. You will never have a day off again in your life once you go self-employed. Even if you're on holiday, you might be on holiday and go, right, I'm going to switch off from work. Impossible.
People
You
say
don't.
that when they start their business, they say, I'm starting my business so I can have more freedom, I can choose my own hours and all this, and it's total rubbish.
No, to be fair, I do agree with it. I think to build a business, you can't have an hour off. If you're off for an hour, you're letting yourself down. If you really want to go, once you're established, once you've got X amount in the bank that covers your bills for 6 to 12 months, where generally you could sit there do nothing. Doesn't matter if the phone doesn't ring for a month, has no financial impact on you. Then yes, that's when you get your time. That's when you get your freedom, and that's where I will be eventually. And that's what I've done it for. Like I say, I've got a little one now. He's 4, and I'm hoping by the time he's 6 or 7. Do you know what I mean? I'll have so much more time. I've stopped working weekends now. That's something I've done in this past year. Well, the last few months I've stopped working weekends. But yeah, and then hopefully moving forward, do you know what I mean? I can get home earlier because I can. It's one of them. It depends how you want to be. Everyone builds a business for different reasons.
Yeah.
And that's why you can't compare your business to someone else.
Daz says when you're self-employed, you can choose which 14 hours a day you want to work.
I wish it was 14 hours a day. Yeah, and that's the thing. People don't get that. They think, oh, this person's home at 2 o'clock every day. Like, it must be so easy to drop your kids off at school and be home at 2 o'clock. You're forgetting they're chasing the quotes, doing this, and I've got no work next week. What do I do? And the bills are due, and I've only got £100 in the bank. Yet there's £800 coming out in 3 days. Where the hell do I find stuff? People don't understand them struggles because they've not been through it. But it's and that's what
But when it
it's
pays
why
off,
the Discord's so good.
When it pays off, it really can pay off.
It does massively, yeah. And the thing is you've got people that want to become millionaires. You've got people that just want to get an extra 2 hours a day back in the day. You've got people that
escape the 9 to 5.
Yeah, just don't want to work for someone else and go out and do 2 gutters a day, and that's enough for them. I mean, they was earning £100 a day at the old job. They just want to make that back, but not have to deal with a manager. It's generally down to you how you set your business up.
What was you going to say about the Discord?
So with the Discord, the good thing is that I've noticed, especially when you first start out, is it's been a few times where you get people coming in and go, right, I'm quitting. I'm having a crap day. I've had a bad week. I've had a bad month or whatever. That's it. It's not for me. But then because you're in a Discord with 400 or 500 people that have all been through the exact same situation you've been through, and go, hold on, I did this. This is what I did to combat it, and it's just good to get that pick me up from other people in the same industry, because it's always you speak to your partner, but they don't really understand. You can speak to someone else that's working 9 to 5, but they don't really understand. Speaking to like-minded people that are in the exact same industry, doing the exact same struggle, doing the exact same thing, it's just so much, because you could be having a bad day and 2 or 3 other people could pick you up. Someone else may be having a bad day, you turn around and pick them up, and that's where it becomes a little bit of a family community kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's needed, because it can be a lonely industry as well, especially if you're working by yourself. You think it's you against the world, and it's one of them. But yeah,
I think the cool thing about the Discord for me, and one of the main selling points is
you get paid massively off it.
I don't generally reply to messages and stuff now on Instagram and Facebook Messenger and TikTok and stuff, because I just don't have time. And when I say, but if you want to join the Discord, I'm in the Discord every day and I can help people every day. What they don't expect then is to come in and have responses from not only me, but 10 or 15 other people chiming in with various different experience levels. Like yourself, you've been going for how long? You've been going now? For 4 years?
3. That's not the year after you.
And then there's people that have just started that are in the same boat, and then there's other people that have been going much longer, or they're like a professional roof cleaner, or they've done loads of render cleans, so they can give you different insights on different things. I think that's quite a cool thing about the Discord. It's not just me trying to help people, it's how helpful off their own back other people have been. It's such a friendly place compared to my experience with a lot of Facebook forums and stuff.
Yeah. And it's like I say, I always say at Cedars, you mentioned there, it took you 12 years to build your business. So you can do just 3 days a week, enjoy it, and obviously take your kids. Like I say, the thing is, if you would have not done that, started 12 years ago, you'd still be working a 9 to 5. You'd lose time with the kids. It does take time, and people think it happens overnight.
Hmm.
But yeah, getting, in the end of the day, without going too thingy, in life, the only thing that generally you have time. Once time goes, it's gone. So if you can get more time by running a business yourself and making it financially free, you'll be the happiest person in the world. It just takes a while to get there, and you do lose a lot of time to gain the time back, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think people are very scared of, I can't do this because I'll never make the same amount of money that I'm making now, so I can't make the leap. And that's these businesses are a slow burn. It's a gradual progression. It's not, yes, you can't go from earning 2.5 grand in your regular 9 to 5 to earning 2.5 grand in pressure washing overnight. It doesn't work like that. But if you can build it on the side and gradually generate that customer base, like you were talking, and try and get 100 customers a year, by year 2 or year 3, you're smashing that 2.5 grand a month that you couldn't leave your old job for 2 or 3 years ago. And it's amazing how quick stuff happens when you're just consistent.
Yeah, it's such a snowball as well in this industry. Once things go well, they go really well, very fast, and vice versa. When things start to go wrong, things go wrong really fast, i.e. vans breaking down, equipment breaking and things like that. Or again, like I say, you could do one little driveway on a street. Before you know it, you took £10,000 just off that street because you've done 5 roofs, 7 driveways, and 2 gutters. It's one of them. It's managing the ups and downs as well. But yeah, my old company could offer me 6-figure contracts. I'd say no.
Yeah, chance. Same.
I could just never work for. I could never have a boss, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
No one could. I couldn't have it where someone's telling me what to do on a daily basis. And the thing is, it's up to me what I do. I can go and earn as much money as I want, or I can go earn as little money as I want. It's all up to me. There's no one else. I'm not relying on my boss to make sure there's work for me tomorrow. It's down to me, and that's what I love about it.
The thing I love about business is your potential earning, your ceiling of potential earning for a regular 9 to 5 is dictated by your boss or whoever runs the business. Whereas now, my ceiling of potential earning is absolutely limitless. It just depends how much time and work I want to put in, and I'll get that back eventually.
Yeah, the thing is, it'll never happen to me, but you could make £1 million pressure washing business next year, kind of thing. All it takes is just that one big contract to land, and you're like, right, I need to get 3 fans on the road because, the local council's asked me to do all this work. It's just things like that. And generally all it takes is just one phone call just to change the whole, your whole kind of company and stuff like that. It's mental, and it happens a lot more frequent than you think as well.
It's amazing how some of these relationships start where it's literally just a phone call out of the blue. And you see some of these businesses that aren't prepared for it, and you see them on these big jobs, and you think, God, you are not equipped for this job. But you've clearly had a phone call, and you've said, yeah, I can do that for you, no problem. And it's like, you weren't ready for that. That's why
me and Steve had it early on. We had a few phone calls from councils and stuff like that. We actually had Steve got one in for the Primark in Manchester City Centre, and multiple Primarks around the UK, which are all 7-story buildings, cleaning all the actual buildings. I was like, we just turned around and said, look, we can't do it. We're not equipped. We're not ready to be equipped for that yet. Sorry, we'd have to pass you on to someone else. And it's hard for people to say no to these massive contracts, but if you're not ready for it and you don't know what to do, I wouldn't advise it.
It's not safe, is it, sometimes? Not only do you not know how to price it, but you also don't know how long the job's going to take. You probably haven't got the equipment to do the job, and you're probably going to be halfway through it and think, why the hell have I done this to myself?
The thing is, I spoke to someone that kind of does quite a lot of big work, and I said, well, I'd probably get a picker in and do it like that. He said, well, a lot of these places are built with undergrounds. If you put all that load, all that weight of that picker on that stone, and you listen, how do you not going to cave the ground in? And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, this definitely isn't a contract for us, kind of thing. But maybe next time round, if it come up now, I feel like we potentially could take something on like that. But it's about like knowing what your limits are as well. Don't overdo it. Don't just think that's a mega job. I need to be able to do it. If it's something that's way out of your reach, because that could also ruin your business. If you do it and do it wrong, you're folding because one, your insurance is going to pay out if you do it wrong because they're massive, and it's one of them. You've missed up on a massive opportunity. Being honest with these big customers, they prefer it.
Yeah,
And then, bring them back up in 2 years' time and say, look, if there's any work, bit more experience now, fully think, yeah, I've done a few jobs similar. Happy to say, they prefer honesty rather than people trying to wing it.
Yeah, I remember we had the opportunity to tender for Oxford University, and the place is insane. It's massive, and it would have meant that going from me and my brother at the time to fulfill a contract like that, it would have probably taken us 6 months if we hadn't hired someone else. And this was a contract where they wanted it doing every year as well. And so half of the year would have been taken up with us just doing this one job. And also our lack of equipment. We only had one small van at the time, and it was just like Zach was going for it because he's like, this is an insane contract. If we land this, that's our year made in one contract. Like, we wouldn't have to work for the rest of the year if we didn't want to. But I was trying to rein him in, saying like, we're not ready. We're definitely not ready. Like, we've only been clearing gutters for a year or two, and it's just not the right time.
Me and Steve got stung a little bit on a contract early on. We had a housing developer come to us with 300 properties. So it was to clear all the gutters, clean all the gutters, fascia soffits, clean all the windows, like all the window frames, clean all the door frames, and some of them had like PVC canopies, clean all that. And they said like the last people was like £72 a property, all in. That's everything for £72 a property, I think it was. So it was like, but we got promised 300 properties. And then after that, then there was another development that had, I think, 1,500 properties. Basically, they had contracts for like 4 or 5 years, and it got to the point where we'd be doing like 3,000 or 4,000 properties a year. So when we
one
first
of these
started,
contracts can change your business. It can change the direction of your business away from what you actually wanted it to be.
Well, basically we worked it out, was like, okay, so 300 properties, that's 20 grand. Like we was kind of still sort of new into it. We thought, that's amazing. We can whack this out. We can make 20 grand. It's 10 grand each. It's guaranteed work. But then you was doing it, and you was doing 6 or 7 in a day, like from starting early on right to the end of the day as well, because it's obviously there's a lot of work. It was just like rows of terrace houses or semi-detached. So it was dead easy in and out jobs kind of thing. That's why you could get so much done. But he was like, I'm not advertising my business. I'm if this stops tomorrow, my business, what happens to my business? Where do my leads go? I'm starting all over again. It's like, it was such a backward step. So we did it, and we did we did about 80 properties, and then we just sat down and went, we need to knock this on the head. 1, we're way too cheap. 2, it was just a nightmare trying to get payment and stuff, especially commercial work. It's just always a nightmare getting payment.
90 days.
And 3, like, our business is taking a massive effect because of it. Like, I'm getting no inquiries in because I'm not advertising. I'm not getting any driveways apart. It's just it. And then literally the minute we stopped it, after about 2 weeks, we was both hammered for like 4 or 5 weeks. I made way more than we did on that job. But you get blindsided. That's amazing. But once you spread the work out and you really realize how much it is, it's not really that much at all.
Yeah. If you invest so much into this one contract, and it changes the direction of the business, and then potentially a year or 2 years down the line, if that customer drops you for whatever reason, or they fold and it causes you to lose that contract, that's all your eggs in one basket that have gone, and it's just too risky, I think. Just very quickly, I'm sorry to divert like this. The bin cleaner pressure washing services has asked, how do you join the Discord? The best way to do it, if you're on YouTube, is under the live stream or on my main YouTube page. If you click on the description, you'll see this membership. It says Apple memberships here, but sometimes you'll get an option under the video to click join. You might see a join button somewhere. Circle members or above will get full access to the Discord. Support members get very limited access. So you want to go circle or above, and that will give you access to all of this. Boosted members also have access to all these advertising photos. So before and after photos, there's absolutely tons of them. Gutter clearing, block paving. You can use all of these on your websites, on your Google ads, on your social media pages, your leaflets. Once you've signed up to be a boosted member, you can download all these pictures and just keep them for as long as you need to. I think they're all pretty good pictures as well. So I do need to update some of them, but I think there's about 250 images at the minute. There's like repointing, the stain removal, and they're all good, high quality photos. So if you're low on work and you've got no content to post, it might be an option for you. Sorry about that.
What I can do, well, we have actually changed subject slightly. Shall we discuss why Steve is very silly for giving out free driveway sealing jobs?
This job was insane. When I saw you post this in the Discord the other day, I thought some of the tarmac sealing jobs I did were big, and then I saw this one and I was like, what the hell? And then, yeah, after hearing the story about it, go on.
So, long story kind of short. Basically, Steve had a customer that come to him. Very, very big job. So he went round, spoke to the customer to his face. Because the initial quote was like, it was a couple of thousand. I think it was like two something like that. There was a lot of work. We had a massive driveway to clean. We had all the patio area to clean. We had like the front of the house like patio areas to clean. It's like the patio right around like the side of the house. I think you've got a video that will show it soon.
Yeah.
Then it's clearing all the gutters on the property. Even behind like the garage that he got was like a massive area that we've like the work just went on and on. That's the day we actually, when cleaning, that's the day we actually got visited by the police as well. Because the burglar alarm went off when was there cleaning. Like the scale of the work involved was huge. So Steve went round, spoke to the customer, and said, obviously, once we cleaned this driveway up, because it's in not the best condition, it may be worth looking to get it sealed, because he was looking to sell the property. This is why he's getting this work done. So we even cleaned like these little posts at the end of the drive. We even cleaned like it's like another wall that goes right back the side as well. We treated that with brick acid because it was just full of like salt all down it. So Steve's showing him a couple of pictures of a sealed driveway. And then we went, did the job. We finished the job. And he was a bit shocked that it didn't look like the pictures. So I was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I expected it to be, new again. Like this video is like the original video of it. Mm-hmm. Like you see all the moss down the sides.
Yeah.
Like, this is sped up and it's just, you can see how huge it is. So he's like, well, what can we do? I was like, well, we priced to seal the driveway. We priced it at, I think it was like 2,000 something to seal it, including product. And he nearly had an heart attack directly in front of us. It was like, I thought he was including the price because we mentioned about biocide treatment. He thought the biocide treatment was a sealer. So there's a little bit of miscommunication in regards to that. So he said, look, you cover the cost of the sealer. We'll come and seal it for you. It's our mistake. Well, it's not our mistake. It's his because he didn't read the message properly. But again, miscommunication. So we had to own up a little bit. So it's like, it's our mistake. We'll have to come and do it for you. We'll have to come and seal it. So he did agree to pay for the sealer, and then we had to seal it all. And we had to do a bit of code lay as well, around like some of like the grids and around the edges. We had to do a bit of code lay repairs.
Yeah.
So Steve was there from 8:00. I was there from 9:00. We finished at 6:30, and that's one thick coat. Because as you can see, like it's just a huge driveway. But luckily, the customer did send a small payment as a thank you 2 days after. Nowhere near the original quote, nowhere near like the original what it should be or anything like that. But I was expected to work for free. So, anything was better than nothing kind of thing.
That is such a massive job, and the to not earn any labour on applying that, because even though it was just one coat, like bending over all day to apply tarmac sealer,
my back was broken.
It's not easy.
Generally, yeah, it was broken. So it wasn't actually a sealer we used. We actually used a driveway paint, which is, to be fair, the product was really, really good.
What product is it?
It's I can't remember the name. Steve might know it. You can put it in the chat. We found a supply, because Pure Seal have upped the prices from £80 a tub to £120 a tub.
I thought it'd been £120 for a while. A couple of years, no?
It used to be £80.
Oh, really?
No, it's been £80. Yeah, I've always paid 80, and then he ups it to like 120. I'm like, that's a bit. So we managed to find this product, closer to the original price. So I thought we'll try it, and the texture of it, like the way it goes into the pores and stuff like that, it's really, really good stuff. I said we just generally put one thick coat down. We just put like a line down on the floor, use the kind of roller to kind of push it about, and then use a roller and to like smooth it out and stuff like that. And it's, the coverage. And like I said, we went back. So to add more to this story, this before we received any sort of payment, the day after we sealed it, he was having a viewing for the property at 11 o'clock. So I was already very annoyed the day before and winding Steve up all day that we're not getting paid and it's a free job, and really annoyed at this job. I get a phone call off Steve at like 9:10. What are you doing? I'm like, well, just on my way to my first job. He's like, well, he's texted and rang this morning saying the sealer's still wet, anything we can do. He's got a viewing in 2 hours. I'm like, Steve, it's a free job. I'm very annoyed if I get there and there's no problems. So we fly down, I rim a job, I move it to later in the afternoon. I fly down, get there, and little do you know, the driveway is bone dry. So we drove 25 minutes away for him just to say there's one little spot near one of the grids that's a little bit wet.
Kind of expected, not even 24 hours later.
To say I was annoyed more than anything. The way he said it was if like the whole thing was wet, and he's like, oh God, I mean, we went over like, with kind of with the blowers to kind of, maybe, blow a bit of air on it, help dry it off a little bit faster, but no, it was bone dry. So there was nothing wrong with it. So yeah, that annoyed me even more.
Have you used that product before on like smaller driveways?
No, we just went onto that one. Probably stupidly, but a little goes a very long way on that. Like we used like 7 or 8 tubs or something like that on that whole driveway.
I wonder how well that'll hold up to like tires and stuff and changes in temperature. Be interesting to have a play on my own drive.
Well, he had the viewing the day after. Apparently, the viewing went well, so we might never know. But out of that, like I say, I know we kind of obviously lost a full day's wage on that job, and if it was priced correctly, we would have made a really nice wage on it. But he's potentially buying another property in the area that needs a lot of work. So,
so will you be using that product again on tarmac, you reckon?
I'll probably only use that product now.
Okay. Interesting. I'll have to have a look at that. Are you doing any more sealing this year?
Avoiding sealing altogether if I can. We have just bought another driveway, a tarmac driveway, in to be cleaned and sealed next week. But I think next year I don't want to offer sealing. I don't think it's a service I want to offer. We briefly mentioned this last time, didn't we? I think it was in a Discord chat when we just popped in the morning. I just don't think it's for me. It's
a lot of stress. It's a lot of moving appointments around just to fit the weather and pricing things up. It's a lot of overhead with materials and having to take
the best time to do it is in the summer, but then you've also got the fact it might be too hot to do it. Mm-hmm. Then you've also got, it could be the hottest day of the year, but then rain while you're on the job, because we're in the UK. It's just what happens. There's just so much that can go wrong in such little time, and then it's like you fully book your calendar up, and then you get them ringing saying, "Oh, it's dry today. You coming?" So
yeah, I have got another
and then you're trying
20
to rearrange,
customers
and
booked in.
yeah, your calendar just gets so hectic. So I'd just rather not do it.
I will say, full clarity, like I know I've got sponsorships and stuff down below, but I think sealing this year has been the one service that has taken the majority of my bandwidth when it comes to stress. It's been, if I didn't do any sealing jobs this year, I'd have been a lot more. I've had a lot more peaceful year, I think. However, I've got some incredible before and after results, pictures, videos, all that sort of stuff. So great for content, great for posting, impressive transformations. But you've also got to prepare yourself for the fact that you might need to move the calendar around quite a lot.
When you seal a driveway, have you ever gone past it 3 months later?
Yes.
Does it still have the wet look?
Depending on what sealer you use, yeah. If you get the right product, get a premium product, and put 2 good thick coats on, yes, it still looks great. But some of the cheaper products,
on that as well,
not so much.
If you're using the premium product, does it double the original quote for clean and sand?
Just materials. It doesn't double the quote. It doubles the cost of the materials potentially, because you can generally achieve a very similar finish with an inferior, cheaper product, but you'll need double the amount of coats to achieve the same finish. That's the issue. So you're not really saving any money by getting a cheaper product.
No, but I mean, like, say if you've got a driveway clean and it's £225 to clean and resand the driveway, to clean, resand, and reseal, you're going to be around £450 though, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I always just advise, I say to the customer, look, because I usually just double the price. If a clean's £300, it's £600 to clean and seal. But
that's not a bad strategy, actually. Just double the price.
I usually downsell my customer and I say, look, I can either come back in 12 months and clean it again for £300, or I come back every 2 years and clean, sand, and reseal it. You're getting the same service. It's going to cost you the same over 2 years anyway. But with the clean every year, at least, in 12 months' time, you'll have it looking brand new again, where in 12 months' time, it might start looking dirty again. And I always kind of downsell it. So it's to me, the customers, obviously, it's down to the customer and what they want. But I kind of downsell sealing a little bit.
I know what you're saying, and you're definitely not wrong. What I will say is a sealed driveway is going to have more protection from weathering, oil. Having to clean it less is going to disturb the driveway less. So there are occasions where you'll pressure wash a driveway multiple times and you'll start to see bits dip in, like especially block paving. And it does offer more protection, and you can keep on top of a sealed driveway with maintenance plans. So that's another, you're not just losing that customer next year because you've sealed it this year. You can upsell maintenance visits, and some customers are absolutely just dead set on having it sealed because they're either not educated enough to know the other options, or they're going for a certain look. So some customers, you'll lose the quote if you can't offer the seal, which is fair enough. And now throwing another factor into the mix, now that we've got this Pro Joint poly sweep and the hard setting sand, that's another option for the customer now. So generally they want the sand to be solidified in the joints, and you can achieve that now without having to seal stuff. So there's that as well.
There is, and like I said, I'd like to see how these fare up in the next 12 months. It's like, say, that tarmac seal that you're seeing, we actually use poly sweep in the middle of that. Bear in mind, we didn't use a whacker plate, which it definitely should have done it, but like I said, we went back a month and a half later or something to seal it, and it was all cracked and falling out because the blocks were still a bit wobbly. Yeah. So that's a really bad example because it's such a small area and, like I say, such high traffic flow over it.
And the blocks, and the wheels are being turned on those blocks, presumably, when people are spinning around.
But again, that's something that we also did for free. Was we recently did with a poly sweep.
What's your opinion on sealing slabs, like natural stone, sandstones, concrete slabs?
I do that. It's just blocks for me. I don't like sealing blocks. Anything else, I'm happy with. Any sandstone patios look mega once they're sealed. I think you really get to think the reason you seal block paving is just to stop the sand washing out, which I think poly sweep is a much better option for that. But I think sealing the Indian sandstone and things like that, you kind of get the much better like wet look with it and stuff like that as well.
More impressive finish.
Yes, it's more for aesthetics. So yeah, when I say I don't do sealing, in regards to new sandstone and things like that, yes, I'll seal all that all day long, especially tarmac. Like I say, tarmac's the biggest transformation job you can do, because it goes from this like ugly grey to like a brand new black driveway.
And with sandstone patios and stuff, it's great for like if you're offering, you can offer 3 stages with a patio. You can offer just the clean, you can clean it and seal it, or you can clean it, seal it, and repoint it. So there's like 3 different services there that you can potentially upsell on like a regular patio. The only times where I wouldn't necessarily recommend sealing to my customers are those like cheap. I've had a couple of customers ask me to seal like cheap concrete, old ass weathered slabs, and I'm like, they've already lost their coating. They already look bad. They're not going to look any better unless you have them tinted as well. And I just don't see the point. So I'll actually talk customers out of sealing concrete sometimes.
Yeah, and it's one of them like, again, some people would just sell anything and everything. Customer's always right. But, you kind of know yourself now if it's going to look better, if it's actually going to work, if it's going to think so. Guiding your customer correctly will lead to a lot more work. I know, if things are a bit quiet and you go, I could, upsell a seal here, doesn't really need one, shouldn't really have one, but I can get an extra 200 quid. It's one of them. You get an extra 200 quid on the day, but how much do you lose out on in the long run?
Yeah.
Steve had a customer. She had a resin driveway. Rang him up. Can you clean and seal it? No, you can't seal a resin driveway. And she went with another person that cleaned and said, yes, I'll clean and seal it. And it's an absolute mess because I don't know what sealer they use, but the whole garden's flooded every time it rains. Like it's just water sat everywhere. And there is like a certain sealer you can use on.
It's like an epoxy,
resin.
Isn't it?
Yeah, but this guy definitely didn't do that. And obviously at the time, myself, nor Steve, understood that you could do that. That's not something that we was, happy to do. I even knew about. So yeah, you do lose a job sometimes by advising the customer correctly because they want it their way. But it depends how you speak to them. I always say, look, this is what I would do if it was my driveway. But obviously, it's entirely up to you. These are the services. Yes, I can do it. Yes, it'll be the best it can be. But if it was my driveway, this is what I would do. And I feel like it puts customers at ease a little bit rather than just, do this and do that and go for the most expensive option.
Yeah, 100%.
I talk customers down all the time, and it works wonders. As weird as it sounds.
Well, there's a thing called downselling, which some people might not know about, is offering the more premium service first, and then if that doesn't fit your customer's budget, we'll say, actually, we could just do this, this, and this, and that will align with your budget, and that makes the less expensive service seem like a much more better option for them. Because you've tailored it for their budget. Regen says water-based year-round sealing, which I'd agree with. It's partially true, I think. Whereas I think the issue with water-based is that, yes, there are occasions where you could seal a driveway that's still mildly damp in places, especially with tarmac sealer. You can get away with it fairly easily. I think there's Pure Seal's acrylic seal, the clear like block paving sealer and patio sealer. That's people have spoken well about that product, using it all year round. The only thing that you will have to look out for is sealing things over the winter. Personally, I wouldn't do it just because temperatures are so low. It's going to take so long for that sealer to cure, and even sometimes even if you get a couple of dry days, it's still not warm enough to set the sealer, and so you could still have
the issue
issues.
Yes, it's water based. Yes, it can be a little bit damp, but when you get a torrential downpour, it's going to wash it away, and it's going to wash it into the guts. It's going to wash it into the drains. It's going to wash it all over everywhere you don't want it to be. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. When it finally does set, it's going to be a nightmare. So yeah, I just personally avoid it in the winter. Unless, like I say, with tarmac seal is very forgiving. You know, me and Steve generally had a job before where we tarmac sealed everywhere, but then they had an issue with one of the grids. Someone that installed one of the grids going across. I noticed it when I was there. They'd put like a massive hole in like the main downpipe section, so she had someone out to repair it, and obviously they left muck everywhere just after it had been resealed. So we went round, re-cleaned all the muck. It was a really hot day, so we waited for it to dry a bit, and there's still a bit that was wet. So you know what, let's just try it. And generally, we sealed over like a wet driveway technically, and it dried perfect. There was no issues whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I think using tarmac sealer is incredible. But I think in regards to like blocks and things like that, it's not that. You know, if the sand all starts washing out because we've had a downpour, and then you've got sand on the actual blocks themselves, and then the sealer's kind of on that, and then it locks. It's just going to look horrendous. Yeah. It's not worth it.
Yeah. We had that quick phone conversation a couple of weeks ago, and you told me about your old business.
No, not public.
All right.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd ask just in case, because that would have been a cool thing to talk about, but not to worry.
Yeah.
If you were to give any advice to someone who's just started, they have no experience in generating leads, they don't know how to market their business, they've got no money to spend on marketing, whether it's pressure washing, gutter clearing, roof cleaning, whatever it might be, what would you recommend they do first and maybe second and third?
So basically, how to build up a business from nothing.
In terms of generating leads, not in terms of doing the work itself.
So if I was to start today, the number one issue people do is they go, right, I want to do pressure washing, and they start a pressure washing business in October, November. You've kind of got to, understand the industry a little bit, go, okay, what active work is out there? Yes, there's still pressure washing jobs. You may be able to do 1 or 2 a week, which might be good for you. But again, all the other kind of people that are doing it, let's say there's only 100 jobs in the area, and you've got 100 people in your area doing it. There's only one job per person. Where if you've got gutters and there's like 10,000 gutters doing your area, and there's only 100 people doing it, you've got more chance of getting a gutter job. So I think definitely tailor your business to the time of the year to get on top of that. I would personally start off by even forget the leaflet to start off with, because that's again, you're starting with zero, you've got no money in the bank, you've just got a bit of kit, you've got nothing. Knock on doors, and the first thing I get back from people is, I'm scared, I don't know what to say, I'm nervous. So what? You can mess up, doesn't matter. No. What you do, you go to the next door. And you mess up again, does it matter? No, you go to the next door. Yes, some people hate it, some people don't like it. It is frowned upon by some people, but at the end of the day, you're out there trying to build your business. You just want to scream and shout who you are and what you're doing. And the thing is, the more you do it, the more confident you'll get, and the more business you'll make off it. So to start off, I'd recommend knocking the doors, posting in your local Facebook groups online. Anything that's free, just do it. I say you will generally get more confident knocking the doors. So, I mean, you'll get 1 or 2 leads, and then you might go 6 hours and get nothing, and then you might go 5 minutes and get 6 jobs in the next 6. It's just the way it works with door knocking. Don't be afraid of getting no's.
So door knocking,
you learn to take no's on the chin.
Yeah. So door knocking would be
100%.
Number one. You've maybe got 5 or 10 customers over the course of a couple of weeks, months, and you're starting to pull a little bit of money in. What do you think the next thing to do would be?
You've got a little bit of money in your account, and you go, right, let's say I'll do it in kind of money stages. You go, right, okay, I've gone from zero, I've now got £1,500 saved in the account, kind of thing, as the business. At this point, you're still running 9 to 5, so you're not really trying to worry about your bills. You're just building your business with them. Any money you make literally goes back onto it.
So this is what I did. It's surprising how quickly, if you're not spending that extra money that you've got coming in or cash or whatever it might be, if you just sit on it and let it builds very, very quickly. It
does. So now you sat on like £1,500. You're thinking, great, it's been a month. I'm now going £1,500. What do I do with this? How do I make this £1,500 maybe more money? Again, you've already got equipment, so you don't need to upgrade your equipment just yet. You've already got like a gutter vacuum, so you don't really need to do that. Next thing I'll do is I'd spend Or even before, then once you're at like £500, I'll spend like £100 on leaflets. That'll get you about 1,000. Just something that you can just quickly advertise what you do, and maybe a blank box where you can write a price. So if the customer's not in, when you knock on the door, you can put it through, or even if you speak to them, just say, look, so you don't forget, here's the price on it. Here you go. And then they'll go speak to the partner and you'll get a phone call. I've had it where I've literally written down, post it through the door, and I'll get chased down the street. Oh, you put on there, you'll do my drive for 225. Can I put you in? Yeah, no problem.
That's a really good way of doing quick and dirty quotes and getting good at doing like quick, efficient quotes. Just looking up, okay, those gutters I'd probably charge 90 quid, write that down, or the driveway is probably going to take me a couple of hours. I'm going to charge 150, 160 quid, whatever it might be, and just getting good at doing like throwaway quotes. 95% of them you're not going to land, but you're getting good at doing the quoting portion. And then, that 5% that you might land because you've given the customer an instant price before they've even had to talk to you. I think that's a very good idea.
I did it not long ago. I put a fly through a door. It was only a small little driveway. I charged 175. And then off the back end of that, I think I did like £900 worth of work for him. But he chased me across the street. He's like, I've just got your leaflet with the price on. Is that right? I said, yeah. And I got like £900 because he ended up doing his back patio and repointing his back patio as well. So, going to get £900 off that. But then, so that's at the 500. You've got yourself some leaflets and you're getting some more. Now you're at 1,500 quid. But everything you've done so far, you've gone out to get the work. So you've gone out and knocked the doors. You've gone out and posted on the things. Now you need to start going, okay, this business now needs to start making people ring me. How do I get that? So if you don't understand how to use Google ads or Facebook ads or whichever, then you need to look in the industry for someone that knows what they're doing. Yes, there may be, I won't say they're expensive. There's loads of people out there.
Do you not think it's something you can learn on YouTube yourself?
No. Well,
really?
Again, it comes back to what I said right at the start, where you'd be willing to put 3 hours in, I'd be willing to put the money in. I'd rather pay someone that's got years of experience than go and spend months trying to learn something that could change tomorrow. Because Google Ads change is so frequent.
Yeah.
I think my issue on top of it.
I've seen a lot of people get burned using these companies that don't produce good results, and they're spending hundreds of pounds, and then they've got to find someone else that's going to do a better job.
There is, like I say, I openly admit who I use. I use a guy called Sam Alsop. I've used him for years now. I've used him for from 19 months in or something like that. I started him quite early, but he's quite well known in the industry. He only does one person per area. He's got nothing but good feedback behind him. But I did a bit of research first and found someone that I wanted. And yeah, there is people out there that don't really know what they're doing. I had a friend of mine that paid someone because Sam unfortunately couldn't do it for him. He was in the same sort of area as me. He was paying someone like £200 a month to run the ads, and then he spent like £1,000 and didn't get a single lead.
It's heartbreaking, isn't it?
And he's like, how's it working so well for you? He's like, well, because my guy knows what he's doing. He's got the experience behind him. He's been doing it for 2-3 years. He knows how to set the campaign up. And the thing is, yes, could I spend 2 months and learn how to make an ad on Google? Yes. But then what happens when Google changes their whole algorithm? Have I then got to study another 2 months? Or am I just paying someone that's 9 to 5 is to study Google's algorithm daily?
Yeah, because what I've heard is
I'm not left behind.
These tests, it can get quite expensive to test things with your Google ads. So if you want to try a new method of targeting a certain area or running a certain type of ad, whether it's photo content or video content or a certain hook or whatever it might be, a certain call to action, you've got to run that ad for a couple of weeks, couple of months, and spend a lot of money running that ad to figure out whether it's going to work or not. I think that's where it's quite scary for people. If you don't know what you're doing and you're literally starting from nothing, you could potentially waste quite a lot of money and see nothing from your work, and that's quite scary for some people.
And that's why, like I say, I made sure to get hold of Sam and make sure I knew someone that was good in the industry. Do you know what I mean? You can't expect results overnight. It is a long game. So that's why I said once you've built the £1,500, you've made 1,500 quid. You know how to go out there and get work yourself. But now you can kind of let the Google ads start building the data, because it's going to take a couple of months before it's built all this data and starts really working. You can now let that trickle in. I mean, you don't have to spend what I spend. You can spend like, 10, £15 a day just to get started, to let it build.
Is it important that you're
And like I say,
consistent? Can you pick it up and drop
yes,
it, or do you have to be non-stop?
it's ideally just let it run, because the thing is, the more data, it's basic. It's like a massive funnel. This is where I explain to it. It's like a massive funnel, and you've got like, Google has a million ideas on what your industry is. And then the more people that inquire, the more, leads that you get and stuff like that. It slowly narrows it down and narrows it down. So, I may have started off at spending £12 a lead, but then it goes down to £11 because it learns, and then it goes down to 10, then it goes down to 9, and now I think I'm currently about £8 a lead, because it's really, really narrowed itself down, and it will only go cheaper the longer you run it.
And they're
Because
they're
it
getting,
knows
are those leads getting more qualified as time goes on?
leads are always quite. I've never had a bad set of leads.
That's
I've always
impressive.
had really good high end leads.
Because like websites like Bark and stuff, and Checker Trade and all that sort of stuff, the feedback from a lot of people have generally been, I'm getting totally unqualified leads. They're either not in my area, or it's for like interior cleaning, or fitting a new kitchen tap, or just something ridiculous that doesn't apply to my business. And I'm spending all this money every month, and I'm locked into a 12-month contract with Checker Trade. I think that's the issue Rich has had at the minute, and it's just like a total waste of money.
It is. I know Sean Christie's. I know he had really good success with Checker Trade, but he's the only person in the industry I know that has. Everyone else has said it's terrible. Bark, we all know about Bark. Maybe some of the new people don't. So Bark for me is terrible. You could you put £200 on to get 10 leads, and only one of them might be a real lead, which might be a £50 job, but someone's gone and said they'll do it for 20 quid. Like that. Yeah. That's Bark in a nutshell. It's so, and that's why I say, so you've gone from the 500, you bought leaflets, you now got to 1500. Now you're spending money to start helping the business get people to ring your business rather than you going getting the work.
Yeah.
So then from there on, then, if you're spending, you can go out there and earn £1,500 a month. You're not going to spend that amount on Google ads. You might spend £6. But then once you spent £6, averagely, you're probably earning like 3 or 4 times your money back. So if you're spending £600, you're getting £1,800 to £2,400 back. You're not spending £600 and getting nothing in return. You're spending the £600, but getting that money back, and then your profit as well.
And do you find that it's quite clear what's working?
In regards to what?
When you find, do you make tweaks every now and again and find, oh, that's really working, so we'll keep doing that? Or do you change it? Do you change it very often?
That's not my problem. That's why I pay someone, because they can monitor it, they can check it, they can make sure it's working. If I have a week where I've not really had many leads, which is very rare that happens, if you have a week where I've only had like 1 or 2 leads, I'll just message Sam and say, look, Sam, been a bit quiet this week. Do you want to have a quick look at it and see what's going on?
Yeah.
And then, the week after, I'm inundated with 50 leads again. I think he messaged me early today saying this year alone, I think I've had like 600 leads.
That's cool to be able to do that.
So far this year.
It's a nice relationship to have like that. I get that with my accountant. I can just drop him a message and he puts my mind at ease straight away. And it's nice to have people in your life like that that can help you with your business so quickly.
Yeah. And the thing is, because he's so in the industry, like he only really specializes in exterior cleaning. He's not just looking at my analytics and going, oh, Google's, gutters are down. He goes, well, I've got 100 customers that are all doing gutters and they've all not really had many leads this week. It's just a thing across the board, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's got data.
Or if it's like everyone else is absolutely hammering it, it's only yours that's not really working. Let's make a few tweaks. It's something like that just makes it so easy. And like I say, as you mentioned about your account, just being able to reach out and say, hey, by the way, this and that. And it's done, it's sorted. But yeah, I'd rather not spend hours and hours every night trying to search it. And, it starts working really well, then it just stops. Then I'm spending hours and hours, just pay someone.
Yeah.
The time you save is worth it in my eyes.
Yeah.
And then from there on, then all you do then is you keep doing the door knocking, you keep posting the leaflets, you slowly increase your budget on Google. Like I say, if you're looking at a 4-time return on average, if you're spending £1,000 on Google, you're taking on 4. That's 3,000 in profit. That's without the neighbours asking for work. That's without your leaflets making money back. That's without your door knocking. It's like the job me and Steve got on Thursday. We did the neighbour's roof, and while Steve was on the roof scraping it, I went and knocked like the street. And I knocked the next door neighbour and he was like, no, don't sell me anything. Don't want anything doing. Not a chance. He'd come out halfway throughout the day going, what are you doing? I said, oh, well, we're doing this. Like, well, we can
You should
do
have
the
just went,
exact same
no,
for you.
no, not a chance. Sorry.
I said, we can do the exact same thing for you. We'll match the same price. We've done a little bit of a discount on this one because it come from my father-in-law, who's a gardener. So we've actually done these a bit of a discount. I said, I'm more than happy to match the discount for you if you want to go ahead. All right, I'll think about it. Rings me up 2 months later. Yeah, can I go ahead? So,
Sweet.
and when I knocked on his door, he was like, no chance, never, don't sell me anything on the door, don't want to
Yeah.
know, doesn't matter. And now I'm doing it in 2 days, so.
Yeah. Should we,
Yeah.
are you all right for time for a bit?
Yeah, I'm sound.
Okay. Should we, I'm just going to pop back to the YouTube chat for the minute because we've missed a couple of questions. I just wanted to catch, Luke's asking about the longevity of Nexus polysweep and stuff. I just wanted to catch this one because Steve said
Yes.
2 to 3 months with no whacker and 4 to 6 with a whacker plate. I think, Steve, I'm concerned that you're putting out information there that isn't technically backed by evidence.
Well, it is and it isn't. The reason he's put them timeframes out there is we've used Nectus throughout the summer and we've not had a great experience with it. So it's one of them. We had a job where one of the first jobs that we did it with, we didn't use a whacker plate, and within like 2 months, weeds were coming through. We had another job that we did. To me, I don't think it's something that's ever going to stop weeds. It's not there to stop weeds. For me, more it's just to stop driveways that normally, when it rains, the sand washes out. You use Nectus instead because it'll stop it from washing out. I think if you've got a driveway that's really bad for weeds and you try and sell it as it's going to prevent the weeds coming through, it's not. It's just going to break through, crack it, and come through.
So what I'd say is I've been back to properties that I've done over 10 months ago, and the sand itself is still rock hard and it's still set in place. A couple of cracks here and there, a couple of places where it might have sunk, but nothing that pressure washing it and topping that sand up can't handle.
How badly was it previously, weeds wise?
So this is the thing with regards to weeds. I don't think you can do generic estimates like that. 2 to 3 months and 4 to 6 months with a whacker. Like with regards to weeds, I think that's absolute rubbish. Like it depends on the state of the driveway in the first place. It depends on how many weeds there were before you cleaned it. It depends on what sort of treatments you're doing. It depends on the overhanging foliage. Like there's so many factors. It's like a customer. Like you've just said what customers ask. Like how long until the weeds grow back? And not you, sorry, Craig. I know you can't see me on camera.
I've got YouTube open. I can see it.
Yeah, when a customer asks how long before the weeds come back, you have no idea. You can't say it's going to be 2 weeks. You can't say it's going to be 12 months. So for you to say 2 to 3 months with no whacker and 4 to 6 with a whacker, I just don't know how you can. I don't know how you can say that. And I think in my experience, in those driveways where it's been where it's like limited weeds anyway, and the customer has asked to have it sealed, or they just want it's a bit of a preventative measure, those driveways still look absolutely mint when I've gone back to them. Seriously mint. And I've even pressure washed areas when I've like come back to do the back patio, and I've just done a little test on the driveway just to see how strong that sand is when you go over it with a turbo nozzle, and it's amazing. It's still like rock hard. Now, I understand other people have had bad experiences with it. I had one a couple of weeks ago where it didn't set. It's because we've brushed that sand in, and then within 4 or 5 hours, it's rained constantly overnight, and I think it's washed all that resin through, and now I'm just left with sand. And so I've refunded the customer the cost of the sand and stuff. So
I feel like it's one of them products where it's very early on. In its kind of like, I don't know how long it's been about for, but obviously I've only really learned about it this year. And I think the results are very inconsistent across the board yet. So people don't really know how to advise it to a customer fully. Like I said, another friend of mine, he uses it and he only literally sells it as it just won't wash out with the rain. That's the only sell he does on it. So he prices it
like a steep driveway or something
like that. Even just like a normal, like a flat drive, sometimes, when you get really heavy rain, just the rain just washes out a bit, doesn't it? So he just sells it as, I mean, it's not going to stop weeds. It's not going to do anything like that. And he's done some ways, like he's done like 300 square meter driveways with it and stuff like that. And generally, he just sells it as all it does is it just stops the sand from washing out. But again, I have seen a few people online. I don't know how true they are because obviously it's online forums like Facebook and stuff, but saying, I've done a 400-meter square driveway, it's still not set, and it's been like 2 weeks. Other people saying, I've done this massive driveway, and it's still very early in its career, as far as I'm aware.
I think there's been a few bad batches going around recently, from what I can see.
I think a whacker plate is a must with it. I don't think people talk about that as much as they should. I feel like once you put a whacker plate over it, it sets in so much more deeper.
Yeah. I think this product is generally designed. I think it's designed for new installations, for like a new driveway. You just put the block paving down and you brush it in for the first time. It's going to completely, seal that drive off from weeds growing back for years and years, and it's a great product. But I think we're using it wrong. We're using it in the exterior cleaning industry, where we've just cleaned a driveway that's been previously weedy, and it says recommended, a whacker plate and stuff. I think that's mainly for new installations, so I've taken that with a pinch of salt. But I can absolutely see how a whacker plate would help. But then you could say the same about kiln dried sand. Why aren't we using a whacker plate on every drive when we're putting kiln dried sand in? You know what I mean?
Technically you should, but I think kiln drying's a bit more finer, so I think it reaches to the bottom of the blocks better. I think with this product, I think you've noticed it yourself, especially with the grey. It's a bit more. It's not as fine as dry kiln.
The grey, yeah.
So I think it needs that whacker plate just to help it, because yourself, if you've got a little kind of pocket at the bottom where water's just going to sit, it's not going to set properly at the bottom, and then over time that's when it's just going to crack. And so I think using the whacker plate will get it down to the bottom. I think just doing dry and kiln, if it drops there, because it's not setting on the top, it's just going to drop down. And once it's dry, it's just going to drop. Where with this stuff, it can't, because the top layer would have set. So then you're going to get the water pocket. So with the dry and kiln sand, the worst case scenario is you go and you just top up a bit of sand on top. Once it starts to drop down and stuff in certain areas.
You could do the same with this stuff. You could just top it up, couldn't you? If you do have those issues.
It depends how solid the top section is, because if you've got, let's say you're halfway down a block and the top section's solid and the bottom section's only half full and it's a bit, not set properly, the top section's still there until that section drops down. But by the time that top section's dropped down, because it's kind of glued there, the weeds could have already come through.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I've not had that issue.
Again, yeah, I say, thing is, it's one of them, innit? Everyone's going to have their own opinions of it. It's still very new to have like an overall kind of opinion.
I think,
but yeah.
Tintin said, I'm worried that I've told a customer it's better than kiln dried sand to help stop the weeds. Am I wrong in saying this now? And I think what I say to customers, I don't think you're wrong, because what I say is any product that sets the sand hard between the joints is going to be a better barrier to help slow down the weeds growing back. It's not going to stop them forever. Nothing will stop them forever, but if you can create a barrier for those weeds, it's definitely going to be better. And it has been better in my experience. So I don't think you're wrong in saying that, but you have got to set expectations.
Yeah. I think it's how you word it, Tintin. I think if you're wording it as, this is the holy grail that's going to stop all weeds coming back, I think then, yeah, you're definitely advising your customers wrong. I think if you advise them like, look, it's not going to stop weeds, nothing ever will, but it's definitely better than dry kiln sand, then I think, it's one of them. I always kind of set the customer's expectation lower than it should be, because that way then when something works really well, they're a lot more happier. Where definitely. If you oversell it and then it starts to go wrong, they're like, well, you said this and you said that, and then that's when you start feeling like, well, I've got to fix this now. It just becomes a bit more of a nightmare. So I think it goes back to kind of underselling. Undersell the kind of what the product does. I always recommend the
over deliver.
Research it a little bit as well. Say, look, this is what it is. This is the product. This is what it's called. If you want to look into it a little bit yourself, you can do. Just so that it's not always just on you.
Yeah, so then you're not making the promises. It's the product that's making the promises. And if they've got an issue with the product, we can help them go to the manufacturer or whatever.
Because I have the exact same situation with Biocide on a roof. I say to a customer, look, over the next couple of months, it's going to kill off any kind of little bits of moss that maybe remain. It's going to kill them off, and it's going to clean it. I feel like I'm trying to sell magic beans.
Yeah.
To people in the industry, we know what Biocide is. We know what Biocide does. But if someone just come knocking on your door 10 years ago saying, I'm going to spray this magical thing on your roof and it's going to clean it, you're going to tell them where to go.
Yeah.
So I always explain where it is and how it kind of works. And I say, look, this is what the name of it is. If you want to do a bit of research into it yourself, you can do. I'm surprised. I've had a few customers saying, I know what that is. Or I've had a couple that have messaged me back like 2 days later gone, I've researched into it. Yes, let's go ahead with that, kind of thing. So it's
I know what you mean about selling magic beans.
Yeah, just because you know what something is and you know how something works, your customers not. They're kind of new. You deal with this stuff on a daily basis, so you kind of got to sometimes dumb it down for them.
Yeah,
and if that kind of makes sense.
Steve says, I can only comment on the ones that I've experienced on. Maybe I'm not watering it enough. To be honest, I totally understand what you're saying, and again, my experience is different from yours. But with regards to watering it enough, I think initially you can't really water it enough, and the fact that you're installing this sand and then flooding the surface with water, that sand's going to drop. If it's going to drop, it will drop at that point, won't it? When you've watered it, surely.
It should, yeah.
So it's going to fill the joints regardless. So I don't know. I don't know if the whacker plate is entirely necessary, but I can see how it could help. Sorry, just looking at the chat.
Yeah. So it's a very strange product, isn't it? For what it is, very strange.
Yeah,
like I said, where it works amazing, but where it doesn't work, it becomes an absolute headache.
I've definitely found the grey is thicker and harder to get into thin joints. So if you've got super fine joints, I'd recommend the beige, the neutral one.
Do you not think the neutral one still has like a hint of grey to it?
Yeah. It's kind of a buff colour, and in certain lights it does look kind of grey, doesn't it? I feel like it's inconsistent for the price. That concerns me, but your experience seems very good. I don't know. Like I said, I had one the other day that failed, and I've just refunded the customer on the cost of the materials, and Nexus have just said, like, we'll sort you out on the next one. So I'm not too bothered about that, and I think it was the rain that was the issue. I think there have been a couple of bad batches going around, but I don't know.
The thing is, has Nexus done that because it's you, or would Nexus do that to everyone?
I know Rich is talking to them about a recent job that he had that failed. Apparently, he's done everything by the book. It didn't rain, and it just never set. And he's done that job twice now, and both times it hasn't set. So I think he's still waiting for a reply from them. But it's one of those weird products where it's based on conditions, like sealer. This is what scares me about sealer. Sometimes it's like you might just go back to that job and the whole thing's failed, or it's turned white, or it's not set, and it just scares me so much offering these weird, unusual services. But when it works, it's fantastic.
It does, and the thing is, it worked 99 times out of 100. It's just that one that could put you off doing it forever.
Jay says, once you have a large enough roof cleaning portfolio, you will have a batch of pictures from most tile types to show customers what they can expect 6 months post biocide. That's a good idea. Yeah, it's a good. To
be fair, I was very tempted to try and find a very old tile of like many kind of profiles and just spray like half of it with biocide and just put like right on it somewhere, like, treated on such a date. This is bought it in such a date, treated such a date, just so I could actually show customers, but I thought that was just too much effort.
Yeah, and it's also similar, like going back to those jobs that you've done to take pictures and stuff. That's quite a lot of effort sometimes as well, and I wish I would do more of that. But Tintin says, stupid question time. Mate, just let you know, same as in the Discord, there's no stupid questions. This is what we do this for, is so that we can answer the the basic questions that people are scared to ask anywhere else. Sorry, mate. Thank you so much. Thank you. Could you put down watered down Gallup weed killer rather than water, as it's mixed water and weed killer? I think first of all you'd need like a PA1, PA6 license to apply any sort of like weed killer product. So you might run into some hot water there. I think you'd be better off with a biocide than a weed killer personally. And firstly, you've got to flood that product so much that I wouldn't recommend anything other than water. I thought about doing it with sealer, but you need to put so much water on the surface that it'd just be a waste of sealer, and I don't think it'd get to the bottom of the joint. What do you think about?
The issue is, so generally, the 101 perfect way to clean a driveway is you visit the property, you win the quote, you treat everywhere of a weed killer 2 weeks prior. You go back, you see if everything's dead, if things are still alive, you treat that again, you go back in another 2 weeks, you then clean it, you then sand it, but that just doesn't happen in a perfect world. I think weed killer is. I think if you've got a customer and they've got a gardener, you just say to the customer, look, I always say this to a customer anyway. Once I've cleaned it, the best way to keep the results, if you just get your gardener to quickly run over all the block paving with weed killer once every 3 months or something like that, just to try and keep things at bay. Or now I've cleaned it. Once you start noticing 1 or 2 weeds popping up, just directly treat them with some weed killer that you can buy from anywhere. And it just makes it a lot more easier and manageable. I think if you start going down the weed killer route and doing stuff like that, it just becomes a nightmare because then you've done all that, you've treated it all, a weed pops up, it's your problem.
Yeah.
You've told them you put weed killer down and it's just one weed and it's a 30-minute drive away and they've got one little weed in the driveway. You've now got to drive 30 minutes to spray it, go home, and then you'll get a call back in like 2 weeks saying another weed's popped up. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Just let them you're there to clean it. You're not there to maintain it unless you've sold them a maintenance package. Then that's a different story. But I've had many times where I've had customer ring me up after like 5 or 6 weeks saying, "Well, there's 1 or 2 weeds popping up." Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you come and? Or what I can advise you is if you go and buy some weed killer, spray it, or if you get your gardener to do it. Oh, can you not just do that? Well, you can, yeah, but you'd have to come under my minimum charge, so I can come over and remove the 2 or 3 weeds for you, but it'd be £125.
It's kind of like getting someone to detail and polish your car, and then in 2 weeks' time saying, "Oh, my car's dirty again. Are you going to come back?"
It's got a bit of dust on one of the wheels.
Yeah, it's like
bit of brake dust on the wheel. Can you come and clean it?
Doesn't really work like that.
Quarter the weed killer as a maintenance package, as Regent said. Ideally, if you're an exterior cleaner, just stay away from weed killing.
Really?
It's more of a guard. Yeah, I personally say, yeah. You're just giving yourself a headache. You know, I mean, offer biocide treatment. Don't touch weed killer. Do biocide. Again, set the customer's expectations. It's just something so minor that can pop up that just becomes a headache. You know what I mean? You're going to get them people that will ring you up for a little weed and it's just not worth the headache.
I really think as part of a maintenance package to say, I'm going to come back every 2 months. You're going to pay this much per month, and that includes 2 monthly visits for me to come back, spray the drive with weed killer. I think once you've got your PA1, PA6 license for about 600 odd quid or whatever it might be, the cost of weed killer is fairly cheap. I think that could potentially, if you do enough of them and you set aside a couple of days a month just to go around and do all your customers, I think that could be a pretty good additional service for your business.
Yeah, but it's what are you going to charge? Realistically, what are you going to charge? 15, 20 quid a property?
How often per month?
Every 2 months.
Yeah, it can't be more than 15, 20 quid for a regular sized driveway, can it? Because I wouldn't pay more than that.
So you're 15, 20 quid. You've got to buy the chemical. You've got to drive round to all these customers, which are going to be dotted around everywhere.
You could do 20 a day.
As I say, you could also clean 20 windows a day.
Not in the same time. Jumping out of the van, spraying some weed killer and driving off. It's not going to take long at all.
You think that, but it's not. You're going to get Doris that comes up the door. Do you want a brew? Colin, I can't really say no. And then you've been there. You've sprayed it in 5 minutes, but you've been speaking to her for 45 minutes, and she's only paid you 15 quid. Now you're massively behind. And on them days where you're going around, you just know where you're going to spray. You might be able to spray 10 in a day, I reckon. Because by the time you drove from one to another, let's say you've done 10 at 15 quid each, you've made 150 quid. You can go and clear 2 gutters in 2 hours. So this is what I'm saying.
Very
Stick
true.
to your,
Very true.
Stick. Let the because it's such a small job, and you can't overcharge it. You can't say, right, it's going to cost you 50 quid. Or
Jay reckons 60 quid.
20.
Jay reckons 60 quid minimum.
He's not wrong. It's to make it financially manageable for yourself. You'd have to be, because, like I say, your license, your insurance is going to go up. Then you've got to obviously buy the camera. I know it's not expensive, but it's not a nice thing to really have just sat in your van all the time.
No.
So you've got to price it properly. You've got to be like, a gutter clear, in my eyes. And that's what people get caught out with sometimes. They start going in for these low tick items. Do you know what I mean? Like, but it's like with window cleaning. Yeah, I mean, you're looking what 15, 20 quid an average or property. Which you can do 10, 15 properties in a day quite easy. But with that, you can upsell everything else.
Yeah.
If you've already cleaned the driveway, you've already got the high tick item off them. You may be able to get the roof, but you've already got that. You're only going to get lower tick items.
Yeah.
So it's just. Yeah, and it's like I say, you spray it 1 month, and then 6 weeks later it starts coming through, and then they're ringing you, and you've got 100 customers all ringing you because there's little weeds growing. It's just nightmare, not a chance.
Yeah,
stay clear.
I totally agree with what you said before as well about the best way to clean a driveway and get long-lasting results is either you or have the customer pre-treat the whole driveway really well with weed killer and kill them all first, because all you're doing when you're pressure washing is chopping the heads off. They're going to be back in no time. So if you can get the customer to kill the weeds first, you're on to a winner, and you're going to get much more long-lasting results.
Steve said, "What's the best readily available?" I don't recommend weed killers because I'm not in the industry. I know Gallium's really good, but I know it's dangerous to use. So I just say, look, go down to your local Tesco, Sainsbury's, whatever, on your weekly shop, pick up a bottle that's pre-made there, and just spray.
I think those ones are super. Some of them come pre-diluted, so you're paying for water, but they're very expensive, overpriced. I would recommend my customers go on Amazon and look for acetic acid. It's a 30% acetic acid, and you can dilute that 1 to 3. It's basically vinegar. It's so cheap. That one's 40%. You can get 40% from, is it Jenny Chem? Is that Jenny Chem? I don't really know. White vinegar.
The best one's Gallium. Gallium's the stuff in weed killer that makes it a weed killer. So you can just get Gallium yourself. But again, it's like I say, I don't have the license. I've not studied weed killer. I don't know what's what. That's down to the customer to do research and find out. I do say, obviously, you can get stronger versions, online. So, but it's entirely up to you. What you remember is a lot of these people are 60, 70 years old. They don't really want to be messing with a really strong chemical. Do you know what I mean? They've got you out there because they can't really do the job themselves. Yeah. Just having a pre-made bottle that they can just quickly squirt. It's not the best stuff, but it works. Over time, that's what your customer needs. You know what I mean? Sometimes recommending the best stuff isn't the best way forward. Do you know what I mean? Would you really want your 80-year-old nana, messing around with Gallium? Probably not. So it's one of them. You can over-advise it, over-advise them sometimes. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I think we should wrap up soon. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on? Anything you wanted to talk about?
Gallium. I don't know what Gallium or Gallop is. All the same stuff, Matt. No, just in case anyone in the chat's got anything.
Yeah, should we give a couple of minutes for questions targeted at either Craig or myself? I think Craig's the guy to go for advertising, pushing your business. I think one thing you might...
Sean's at a nail on the head. I'll stop everyone right there and get
Christmas night
out. Two
out.
things. First of all, Sean, where's my iron brew? Secondly, Christmas night out. Apparently, Smout and PWS, Darren, if you're here, is organising this. So no doubt it'll be organised on the 24th of December to go out on the 25th of December. So yeah, the more if we constantly message Jake every Monday about this, we might actually be able to get one done. We
mentioned amongst ourselves at Sausage Fest that we should organise a Christmas night out. And then I said, well, where's Fairly Central? And then we realised Darren at PWS is fairly central for everyone. And so apart from Sean, but he's up in Scotland. So, but I think, I don't know if Darren knows, but I think Darren and myself should organise a Christmas do or something. So we'll have to get some numbers. Smout, I appreciate your content from Belgium, man. By the way, do you recommend flyers for someone who's just starting out? We have just, if you can re-watch this episode either on YouTube or Facebook, we have just covered this in detail, the plan for someone who's just started with no money. So I think re-watch rather than us going over it again. The one thing I would say you did miss out, for me personally, is the socials. I think Setting up a social media page is free. It's easy. Take pictures of every single thing you do when you're starting your business, when you're doing your first driveway, when you're setting up your first machine, when you know, take pictures of everything, upload it to your Facebook and your Instagram account. Make sure you tag your location, do some hashtags as well. The amount of reach you can get from doing a good video, a good short reel or something, you're going to spend an hour or two editing it, and you could potentially reach thousands, if not millions of people if you're lucky. And if you're consistently uploading, you can't really fail. And so to be able to do that for free, it's like you said, Craig, earlier, you're trading your time for potential leads. Whereas when you're doing Google ads and stuff like that, you're trading money for potential leads. So you've got to figure out how you want to do it. But also, I'd say building up reviews on Google and Facebook. I think reviews are massive. I think before and after pictures, proving that you can do the work, proving that you've got happy customers is massive. And I think this is going to be gradually get more and more important over the next couple of years, where people are using social media to look for tradespeople.
So on that, I think Google, I think it's a known fact, it's rather 20 or 30. Google actually doesn't really start pushing you until you got 20 or 30 reviews, by the way. People will see you. You have to Google it. But I'm sure it's rather 20 or 30. Once you got 20 or 30, that's when Google start pushing you. That's why it's so hard to get on Google. Like I say, most people, you get banned like 3 times, and then you manage to have a meeting with them, and then they go, yeah, you're a business, we'll put you online. But yeah, Google don't really start pushing you until they've got 20 or 30 reviews. You'll still be seen, you'll still be pushed slightly, but to be really pushed out there until you've got that. And if you're constantly getting reviews, you'll just, like I do, I get really bad. Like I'll push everyone for a review, and I'll be getting, 1 or 2 reviews a day, or one every other day kind of thing. And I'll see general leads just like, not paid leads, just normal leads, they'll start coming in better.
Yeah.
But then once I stop asking reviews, that slows down. Obviously, I still get the general leads coming in from my ads, but then just like the generic leads, they kind of slow down.
It's almost like it's keeping your page active, and it's pushing it to more people.
That's it, yeah.
Massive tip: always use hashtags and capital letters. Massive tip for hashtags: always use capital letters for the word being used. Really? That's something I've never done, so I'll try that. Started my biggest roof scrape to date today. Feeling it tonight. Finch, I know your pain, mate. 100%. You're getting pretty efficient with your roof scrapes, aren't you? You've been absolutely flying through. You did 2 in a day recently, didn't you?
Me or Finch?
You.
Yes, me and Steve flew through 2 in a day. To be fair, it was quite straightforward. It's like a 70 attached on the first one, flat tile. So once you've got like the scraper blade on it, you literally just run it across underneath like the underbelly, and it just drops off like it's like heaven. So we literally smashed through that in like 2.5 hours. One was at the front, one was at the back. And then we had another one, which was a profile tile. It wasn't too bad. The back was really bad. The front wasn't too bad. And that took us like 4 or 5 hours. So yeah, whacked out 2 in a day. That one, the one I posted on my Facebook page, where you've got 7 roofs, me and Steve actually did that in a single day.
Let me have a look. How long ago was it posted? Do you know?
I'm very bad at posting. So very recently.
I've got the time lapse. It's the time lapse.
So yeah, it's the time lapse one. So if you go onto the comments, they actually posted a picture of all. I think there's like 9 roofs there, but one of them actually had a tree fall through it. So it was actually had a brand new roof. Yeah, that's why we managed to get on scaffolding to be able to do it. But yeah, there's all quite small, quite compact. But each roof took us about 40 to 50 minutes to scrape, and then we literally ran it right across at the end. We literally ran right over. So as you see on this one, it's just me scraping at the first, and then Steve jumps on to give us a little bit of lift at the end because he finished his other one. But to be fair, he was bio-siding the other roofs as I was scraping this one. But yeah, they're only small. But yeah, if you go on the comments and scroll down, you can see how many roofs there is. And apart from the one there that's got like the window in the middle, that one there, that's the one that had a tree go through it. So that one had a brand new roof. But apart from that, we did every other one.
What are your thoughts very quickly on scraping using a pole from a tower versus being on the roof on your hands and knees with like a roof ladder or something?
So if you're doing from a tower or from a ladder, you can't get the underbellies properly. But that's why you've
Same
got
with
the
flat
biocide to
tiles.
help kill. With flat tiles, yeah, you get the same result on the roof, off the roof. Just on the roof, it's 1,000 times faster. As you can see there, there's literally no moss left underneath them tiles whatsoever. Yeah. So, but any profile tile, if you're doing it from a ladder or a tower, you can't get every bit underneath. But like I said, that's what the chemical's for. Is to get. I always tell a customer, look, we aim to get 90% off. We can never get 100%. I always say 90% because I know we can do more than that. But I just set the customer's expectation. But then obviously the biocide will do the rest. If you're on their hands and knees, you can get underneath every little underbelly with like a wire brush and things like that. So yeah, you can get a lot more off. But obviously it's a lot more dangerous. So it's one of them. It depends on access, what kind of tile it is, what kind of pitch the roof is, because you get some that are really nice pitched. Like this one example, the right hand side is obviously a lot more of a longer pitch from the left hand side, which is a lot more kind of straight. So you couldn't get on that roof without a cat ladder, but it just becomes a nightmare.
Yeah. Daz says, I've seen a couple of people mentioning Google is getting rid of Google business pages that aren't limited companies. That would be bad.
I've not seen that yet.
I wouldn't like that.
But the thing is with Google don't really like working. As weird as it sounds. So they don't want to be monitoring who's on Google and what business they're there. So it wouldn't surprise me. That's why it's so hard to get on Google, and that's why I don't push it until you got 20 or 30 reviews, because that way then they know you're a trusted business before they're putting their name on you, if that makes sense. But yeah, that wouldn't surprise me if they did that, because it just saves them a lot of headache of scammers making up a new Google account, a new Google page, and then scamming people, because then people go to Google saying, well, I used your service and I got scammed.
Yeah. So, yeah, I can imagine they're getting a lot of hassle behind the scenes trying to keep up with all that. Craig, this has been great. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm going to get to bed, I think. I think we should do this. I say this to a lot of people, but I think you're absolutely a natural when it comes to this. I think you give great advice. And I think we bounce off each other quite well, because we both have quite different opinions on how to do stuff. And I think it's good to hear both sides.
Thing is, like, and this is why, I'll do a little shameless plug for you. So why the Discord's so good is because there's 1,000 ways to clean one thing, and you're gonna have your way. Like, for instance, we'll shame Jake a little bit here. He thinks you cannot clean block paving with a flat surface cleaner, which I have told him for 12 months straight. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And he's finally now come to his senses that yes, you can. We've also realised that Jake has a 30 litre a minute machine running at 12 litres per minute because he's scared of using an extra £5 worth of petrol on a day. So do you know what I mean? It's just these little bits of advice. It just because you do something one way doesn't mean that there's another 1,000 ways to do it. Everyone's going to do it their own way. Whatever works for you works for you. But it's always good to get an insight on how other people do it, because sometimes you slash jobs down by half by just going, I'm going to try that, and actually it really works.
100%. Yeah, it's good to try stuff. Yeah. Anything to promote? Anything to plug before we leave? Are you going to be posting more on your socials, or?
I say I will, but I won't. I don't even have a TikTok. I don't even have an Instagram.
You're not really out there, are you? We met through YouTube and through the Discord. And
no, we didn't. We met through YouTube, and then I'm one of the original WhatsApp OGs.
Oh, you are? Yeah, you were one of my first members.
It was actually my fault, or one of my fault, that we actually ended up going to Discord, because I think you went to sleep during a boxing match one day and woke up to like 400 messages in the WhatsApp chat and was like, we need to fix this because I don't know what's going on. Yeah, to be fair, I think there's like still 3 or 4 of us out of the WhatsApp groups. That's how I met Steve. I met Steve through the WhatsApp group.
Really? That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Like I said, we started about a month apart. Obviously, we both obviously connected through yourself, through the WhatsApp. And now, obviously, we generally work probably every other day together at the moment. When it gets to winter, we normally work a lot more together than we do in the summer, just because we're doing a lot more roofs and a lot more like kind of commercial work now.
And winter's miserable, so it's nice to have someone with you as well.
Well, I think, like I said before, with the Discord, I mean, if I'm having a shit day, I ring Steve. I can complain to him. He knows what I'm complaining about picks you back up. Vice versa. When Steve's having a bad day, you know, he can ring me and I can, you know, it's one of them. It's good to bounce off people in the industry because they know what issues you're facing. Do you know what I mean? If you went home and started complaining to your missus about, oh, this gutter had a load of bird muck in it and, you know, it took 2 hours and they'd be like, so? Where, you know, arguing with someone that knows what it's all about, understands it.
Yeah. Yeah, and Discord's full of people of, like I said, various experience levels, so it's nice to get opinions from all different types of people. And we're all running towards the same goal. We all want to be independent business owners, earning good money, happy customers, feeding our family. So, Craig, thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate your time, and I definitely think we should do it again.
I'm sure we will.
All right, mate. Thank you. Have a good night.
Ciao.
See you in a bit. That was nice, weren't it, guys? That was lovely. We've done over 3 hours, and I'm starting to get a little tired. I'm desperate for a wee. So, for those of you that don't know, obviously we've been going on about it all night. You can join the Discord if you want to. Easiest way to do it is to go on any of my YouTube videos. In fact, let me switch accounts so you can see what I'm talking about. So if you go on my YouTube channel, there's a button here for most users, desktop, Android. You might see a join button. If you go on any of my videos, you'll see a join button down here. And if you're an Apple user, you might have to go over here in my description and click on this link. Circle members and above get full access to the Discord. And it's a great place to be. So I thoroughly recommend it for anyone who's just starting out in the industry, whether it's gutter clearing you want to talk about, whether it's window cleaning, pressure washing, repointing, wood care, sealing, roof cleaning, solar panels. We literally render, talking about your vans, off-season services. We literally talk about absolutely everything. So everyone's welcome. It's a very, very nice place to be with very kind people. Again, all going towards the same goal. Thank you all so much for watching. This is the first time I've streamed on Facebook. I think it's gone pretty well. Quality seems to be good. Audio seems to be okay. So we might do this more often. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful week